Trump's a creep. Oh, yeah, Trump.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, May 17th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1034.
This is No Agenda.
Tracking fur babies and phone zombies and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we all know that you have a roll of quarters in your fist if you get into a fight, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Yes, an old classic. If you can still find a roll of quarters anywhere.
You can get them from the bank.
Yeah, but yeah. Who has rolls of quarters laying around? Nobody.
No, it laying around. You should. Nickels also kind of work.
You have a roll of quarters just in case you get into a fisticuffs?
I always have one in each pocket.
Is that a roll of quarters in your pocket?
There you go.
Oh, man. We went into collective insanity overdrive with that Yanny Laurel thing.
Oh, my. If you notice my clip list, there's no mention of it.
Yeah. I
wasn't going to be the one.
I had to mention it because
And by the way, the dress was white and gold.
Yeah, blue and purple, whatever it was. I want to know who did this. That's what is not a part of any reporting. Who did it?
Well, no, it is a part of a reporting. In fact, our local station, and I think I've heard it. Oh. In fact, they talked about that they're trying to track this guy or woman down, and they can't do it. They don't know who it is, but it is part of the reporting.
Oh, okay. Well, so we don't know who it is.
No, that's apparently a big mystery.
Well, these are two computer synthesized voices, and you hear different versions of the either Laurel or Yanny based upon the device you're listening to, your own hearing range, and a whole bunch of different things. And I have a little filter set up. I'm just going to demonstrate. I'm going to filter lows, mids, highs, in and out, move it back and forth, and you will hear the two different names.
Laurel.
I'm hearing Laurel now.
Yeah, of course. That's because that's what you hear.
I can already hear it.
Laurel.
You can hear them. You can hear the two mixed together.
Yeah. This is the point.
Yeah, not everybody knows this. Almost done. So you probably would have heard Yanny and Laurel at one point on the spectrum.
I heard exactly what you heard because that's what you're playing.
Yeah. But
now they show some examples, and I think they're pretty rare, of two people listening to the exact same feed and getting two different things. That I guess there's some in-between moment there where that's a possibility, but generally speaking, this is a function of the frequencies.
Yeah.
So what? So why is this a big deal?
It's not, but I just wanted to
slow things down, too, or play it backwards and hear the devil. You've done that a number of times.
Yes, exactly. So I just wanted to give some sanity because I was accused of being a liar in my own house.
What?
Yes.
Okay, now this is the story.
It's Tina's daughter. She's with us for the summer.
Oh, the hill bot.
No, she's not a hill bot.
Yes, she is.
No, that's the other one. No, neither of them are hill bots. But it was, she was very surprised. I didn't know you're just lying to me. Oh.
What?
Yes.
She says you're lying to her about what?
Because I said, I hear this. And she said, no, I hear this. That can't be true. It's ripping the fabric of our culture apart, okay?
Dumb.
Damn Yanny Laurel. Well, at least we got a nice little news cycle out of it.
Well, it was brought up on the NBC Nightly News, I believe, and some other these big reports, and it was just annoying. I found it was like, oh, brothers. It was worse than the dress thing.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, done. Just change your frequencies. Although it is kind of, you might be able to use that to put stuff into people's ears. Have a different frequency. Donate to No Agenda. Donate to No Agenda. Donate to No Agenda. It could be done.
Donate to No Agenda.
I prefer the catchy tunes myself. I agree.
Yeah, they work.
Yeah.
Get you an earworm.
All right. Well, we have to start off with the good news as my quest to end this is continuing.
Good morning, morning, I'm Rachel Martin. American Airlines is getting stricter about emotional support animals.
Yeah.
These are the creatures that provide comfort to people suffering from extreme anxiety. Now, passengers traveling with support animals will have to fill out paperwork 48 hours in advance, and the airline is going to double-check notes from doctors. Some animals are now totally banned. No insects, goats, hedgehogs, ferrets, spiders, chickens, or hawks, or any animal that smells. Miniature horses are apparently still okay. It's Morning Edition.
Any animal that smells. That's the criteria?
Oh.
Yeah. Good. Damn,
Yeah, that's
dog
about,
people.
you win.
Yeah, well, I'm
So
winning.
did you see the video, the little YouTube video that came out? This kid, decides he got a service animal and he decides to feign a heart attack.
Yeah, and the dog
And the
starts
dog
humping him.
humping his head.
Why does that never happen on the plane? That would be entertainment that I would be okay with. Yeah. Fabulous. Well, the fur babies are definitely having. Do you know that U.S. births have hit the lowest since 1987? I don't know if that's significant or not, but I thought it was.
Well, it is a
20
cycle.
years. What is it? 30 years. 30 years. A cycle?
Yeah, it goes up, goes down.
Yeah. Well, where is the dog cycle? How do those two? Where's the Venn diagram? How do those two intersect?
I don't know. You're going to have to do your own cycle analysis.
I also read, and this was odd. Maybe it's related. And I personally, I think it's a native ad for some pharmacy. This is in the UK, but it is from, let's see. It is from their health and science editor. Yeah, Martin Baggett, health and science correspondent. Half of all men, I guess in the UK, in their 30s, struggle to get an erection. 49% blame stress, 24% blame boozing too much. So nearly half, that's 43% of men aged 18 to 60 across the UK are suffering impotence. 4 in 10 men blaming stress, tiredness, anxiety, and then the boozing too heavy. Wow.
That's all new.
Yeah, well...
It's never happened in the history of America.
Well, this is UK.
I blame the women.
Okay. Yeah. Do tell.
No, it's just it. I mean,
You just blame the women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easier.
Okay. Well, maybe I should just play this little clip from Jordan Peterson, quickie, 46 seconds. Kind of sets the frame for everything we're dealing with. And it's in a way kind of related to Yanni and Laurel, but not really, more the fallout from it.
One of the things that I've come to understand about political arguments is, people say, the person on the other side of the ideological continuum has different opinions than I do. It's like, no, they don't. Or maybe they do. But they don't see the same facts. Because the filter they use to select from among the infinite number of available facts preferentially presents them with the facts that are relevant to them. And that's already built into their ethic. And so one of the horrible things about political discussions is that you're actually having a discussion about what the facts are. And you say, well, the facts are the same for everyone. It's like, yeah. It's like saying, I have an infinite library of books, and you can come into it. It's like, well, you're going to pick out the same book? It seems highly improbable.
I think there's an element of truth to that. If I can just pick a fact.
I'm not sure actually what he said.
Well, what he said is there are so many facts. We'll take Trump for example. There are so many facts about. Here's an easy one: ZTE. And the only reason why that story kind of stuck out for me is because I got a ZTE phone, to try it as an OTG phone, failed miserably. But it's a Chinese piece of junk, and so that company was out of. You couldn't. I guess they couldn't export any phones because there was some technology that had been passed on or stolen. It's kind of irrelevant to the story. So no ZTE phones in America. And then the president comes back and says, we got to change this. This is about jobs. We can't be screwing these Chiners this way. And if you take that fact with another fact that the Chinese are funding some huge project of which there will also be a $500 million Trump hotel. I doubt that the Trump organization is building it, but so people immediately take those facts, connect it. Occam's razor, say, it's a quid pro quo. He's getting $500 million for his building because that's what he needs. Of course, that's what he's all about. And so he's going to give something back by letting ZTE, trying to fix the ZTE problem. That's just picking some facts and turning it into your truth. And it's happening. That's a story that's real. And yeah.
All right. I'm sold.
All right. Now we go to, and I'm glad I was able to get a recording of this happening. Remember I told you about the woman who'd been pulled over by a cop, and then she did the face bag video, and she was all, like he was a racist and all this stuff, and nothing could be further from the truth according to the body cam.
Week,
the body cam.
Recently.
Yeah. So there was a pastor, also NAACP president from South Carolina, Reverend Jared Moultrie, and he posted the following on the face bag as he'd been pulled over for a traffic stop, which he considered to be profiling. Here's what he posted on the face bag. So it's the officer and him. Hello, sir. How can I help you? Officer, I'm stopping you because you failed to put on a turn signal. And do you have any drugs in the car? Sir, how do you know if I use my turn signal when you were approaching me as I turn? Are there any drugs in your car? Why are you asking me that? License and registration. Sir, can I take off my seatbelt and get it? Sure. As I open the glove box, sir, this is a new car. I just purchased it, and all I have is bill of sale, insurance, and registration from a car I'm transferring tags. Okay, where you work and whose car is this, and why are you in this neighborhood? Sir, I'm a pastor. I live in the house on the left. Oh, I guess I'm Bill Gates then, says the officer. Sir, what's the problem? I asked you whose car this is for the last time and why you're in this neighborhood. Me. I told you for the last time, this is my car and I live right over there. By the way, sir, can I speak to your supervisor? Officer walks away with my information. When he returns, he says, did you know your tags came back to another vehicle? Sir, I just explained this to you. Sir, I've purchased multiple vehicles, never heard this now. And the officer interrupts, you need to park this vehicle and never drive it till you get this straight with the DMV. I'm warning you not to drive this car till the tags get straight, and just know I'm doing you a favor tonight, not taking you to jail or writing you a ticket. Sir, you might be doing yourself a favor, but you're certainly not doing me a favor. And it just continues a little bit on like that. So he was racially profiled, and he was treated like he didn't belong in that neighborhood. And the cop released the body cam video, which I cut down, removing all the silences.
Hey, how are you? I'm all right. I'm Officer Miles with the Timothville Police Department.
Yes, sir.
Got your license, registration, proof of insurance on you?
I'm losing the seat.
Okay, that's fine. Go right ahead. Are you the owner of the motor vehicle?
Yes, sir. I just transferred these.
You just transferred? Okay. What's your name?
Jamie Moultrie.
Okay. You got your driver's license on you, Mr. Jamie? The reason why I'm coming in contact with you is whenever you took the left right here, you didn't signal. Okay, that's the only reason why I'm coming in contact with you, okay? All right, sit tight for me, okay?
So now he goes back to his car, checks everything out.
Well, here you go, okay? Your registration. Try not to drive the car no more until you get the proper documentation, because this registration actually come back to a 1992, okay, GMC truck. Yes, even in the system as that too. But what I'm saying, you got to have the proper registration and everything, and insurance and all that stuff to actually indicate that plate comes back to this motor vehicle, okay? Because when I run the plate, it's still coming back to this. It's not coming back to your car.
Okay, I understand that, but look, I just bought the car the other day. I switched the tags.
Well, you probably need to go to the DMV and ask them how come it's not registered. In the state of South Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles, it's still coming back to that truck.
I understand that, but this is what I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
I switched the tags from the truck to the car. They told me at DMV, the dealer put that on there to show that the tag's going to be transferred.
Right.
And all I need to do is keep this registration in here and this bill of sale.
They told you wrong. You got to have the proper documentation in your motor vehicle that actually matches the car that you're operating on South Carolina highways in order for it to be legal to operate on South Carolina highways. They told you wrong, okay? All right. Other than that, there's your driver's license. Just make sure you wear your seatbelt at all times while operating the motor vehicle on South Carolina highways and drive safe, okay?
There you go. That was the entire exchange. I missed the whole Bill Gates thing, the drugs thing.
So the guy, well, besides being an obvious liar, if this, unless this guy was, you had to do a hell of an edit job on the tape.
Oh, no. That would have been quite extraordinary.
It wouldn't make sense. Besides being an obvious liar and then a kind of a provocateur by putting a bull crap thing out there on the face bags. The guy's switching tags around on his cars. I mean, everybody knows that's illegal.
And he let him go for
cock
that.
and bull story. Oh, the dealer told me to do it.
Yeah.
I just think the guy's full of crap.
He
and then that was
sounded
reflected
drunk.
in the face bag post.
Yeah, he sounded kind of drunk too. But, now, is it possible that he had this kind of, he felt threatened, which is possible, didn't feel comfortable, and he came up with kind of this story, and then he just, I'll just post this. I mean, how does this happen? Pastor and NAACP president. This brings the organization into question. Certainly the North Carolina chapter.
Was that North Carolina or South Carolina?
Might have been South. Let me see.
Yeah, I think the guy said South. I think the cop said
South Carolina. You're right. South Carolina.
How does this happen? And do you think perhaps the guy's just delusional and he actually believes it?
No, I think that this happens, that this is the nature of the Sosh Nets. This is what you do. You lie about everything. Whether you either lie about how great your life is and awesome your food, how much you love your fur babies, or you show that you're a true victim. There's almost no in-between.
Did we play that clip about the addiction? I think we did. The addiction to Facebook.
Well, we have several of them, actually.
Well, the more recent one where the guy says he had to produce a lie. He felt that it was important that he made his life look better than it was, and he said the whole thing was bullcrap.
Yeah, I don't remember which clip. Yes, we did play that, but I don't remember which clip. Yeah,
and he goes on and on about this, and maybe there's some element that may be an element. People who see themselves, even though it's not necessarily true, but they see themselves as losers because they have this standard to uphold of other people that are on Facebook showing their wonderful life. And you even had that with that series of, which we haven't talked about, but this was years ago. I know it floated around, this series of douchebags on Facebook, whatever it was called. And there's all these kids with just too much bling. And
no, that's the rich kids of Instagram, which is also facebag, honestly.
Yeah, rich kids of Instagram, right? And there's just all douchebags, and it was just ridiculous. And so people have these different standards. I don't know. Maybe that's all it is. I mean, this is a pet peeve of yours for years.
Yeah,
about the selfie, and you can't. You have to take 1,000 pictures to get the one just right.
Especially if you're in the picture with women. Because they all have to zoom in, check, make sure, is my arm fat? Okay, all right, yeah, good. All of that. And it results in this.
A study by Blue Cross Blue Shield has found that the number of Americans diagnosed with severe depression has jumped by 33% from 2013 to 2016. The study found that depression was likely linked to other issues that the patient was dealing with, as 85% of people diagnosed were also suffering from another chronic condition. There were more alarming findings. Such diagnoses in adolescents rose 63% and in millennials 47%. Physicians noted that the increasing use of electronics and social media may be playing a role.
You think? There you go. Depression on the rise, up 33%. Magic number, must be true.
Interesting.
I did receive a nice note from a millennial producer, Nikhil. Hey guys, great show. I wanted to share my experience with social media screen addiction. I'm a 22-year-old slave in Gitmo Nation, and I recently had two things happen that have made me realize how bad social media is for us. I stopped using my iPhone in favor of a cheap flip phone, and my laptop died. I've noticed withdrawal symptoms not unlike those of the use of benzodiazepines, Xanax, Klonopin, both of which I have abused in the past, 22, and quite similar of that of large quantities of THC. It's really helpful to me, and I'd recommend it to anyone who has struggled with mental health issues. It's quite likely I was substituting online communication with the real thing. Life-saving tips here on the No Agenda Show.
Life-saving tips.
Saved another kid. Saved another one. That's beautiful. Yeah, if we've learned that it's very important, or your longevity, or you will live longer if you have more social interaction, integration with people in real life. So talking to the guy who gives you your coffee, smiling at someone on the street, holding a door open, whatever it is. But yesterday, on the way to the spin class and back, it occurred to me that people are not only substituting social networks for this type of life-saving interaction, but when they're out among other people, they're still carrying and holding and looking at their phones.
Yeah, they have the phone in hand as they walk down the street.
Man.
Which to me, just, ever since we made that observation, although I think we're not the first, that they're holding the phones.
Yep.
Instead of having it in their purse or someplace, they're actually literally holding onto it for dear life all the time.
And juggling bags.
And looking at it constantly. Yeah, and juggling it.
Well, they've worked out this way. And also you need if you're a real pro, if you're really addicted, then you have one of those knobs on the back so you can slip your fingers past that so you have a good grip on it. Oh, yeah. What, nobody has that? What did you say?
I've never seen one.
Oh, my God. These things are rampant.
I've never seen one.
Well, okay. Go to the mall. They got hand straps. It's like a little knob on the...
I think we should here's another product idea.
All right, here we go.
Product idea. So we should have some sort of the phone should be on a tether that has got a kind of a spring-loaded tether. So then if you drop the phone, it immediately sucks back. And then... and
like keys?
Like keys. Yeah, it should be like on a key thing. Yeah,
if you drop it, boing, flips right back.
Yeah, it comes right back. And then when you're fumbling, and because you have to carry it all the time, so you can hold it in your hand.
I think...
And then and you got to move, you got to dig around your purse, and then you accidentally let it go.
I think there's a better product, which I've been thinking about. I think we need the Bob Dylan harmonica neck brace, and you need to change that so you can hang that over your head and you just glance down and you can see exactly what's coming in on the Sosh Nets. Sosh Meds, that's good too. Now, something like that, maybe.
I think the
you like your idea
tether.
Better.
I like the tether.
Okay. That's good. I will say that as a part of my OTG experience, I have removed the talking tube from Amazon from the home and replaced it with the open source Mycroft.
Mycroft?
Yes, Mycroft.
The brother of Sherlock Holmes?
That's what apparently the box is named after. And the Mycroft is an open source. You can download it and run it on if you have a Linux box, you can run it on that.
But just goes straight to CIA.
No, it's actually self-contained. It's within your own control.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's open source, so this has been looked at. And anyway, I've had a lot of fun.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying,
it sounds like you're mocking me. Maybe just a little. And I set out to get it to do all the things I had the talking tube do, which is weather, shopping list, and how old is a celebrity. That's pretty much all we ever use it for. And it's fun to look at what they call AI, because it works the same as these talking tubes. It's all about utterances and what it can pick up, and you have to put in all these vocabulary trigger words, alternates, instead of add to the shopping list, put on my shopping list. I mean, it's all skip logic. There's no intelligence in this whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no intelligence in any of them.
No, exactly. But
they're just monitoring you.
But this one monitors.
A listening device.
This one monitors only what I want it to monitor and doesn't send anything. If I don't want it to send anything, it doesn't.
So what are you using for the Polk Audio has a box. I was just at this event and talking to the Polk Audio people, and they have a thing I guess you can turn it into any one of these boxes. I don't know if it would work with that. Might. Very nice little speaker microphone array.
Yeah, this one actually, so it's a Raspberry Pi. It comes in an enclosure. And of course, the thing they don't have is the fantastic microphone array. It's okay and it works, but not great.
Yeah, I think, why hasn't anybody, I was just going to ask, why hasn't anybody hacked?
Yes, well, I looked into that. Why haven't they hacked Alexa?
Yeah, hacked it out, or you just take Alexa, tear it apart, and hack out. Just pull out the microphone array and use it elsewhere, because those microphone arrays of that sort are very advanced technology.
Yeah, very cool. Apparently, the Echo, the Amazon talking tube, runs on its own operating system. And I was looking around for it for a couple of reasons. I also found out what the Nest does. Holy crap, that thing's the next to go. The Nest thermostat. It's the Nest thermostat, when you walk by it, it turns on. The display comes on. So it has a sensor and it knows that you're walking by it, therefore it knows you're home. All this information is sent back to Google, who purchased the company a couple of years ago. There's tons of information they're sending.
Yeah, they needed to send to the criminal syndicates so they can,
yes.
You're not home, you're home, you're not
yes.
home, he's not home, he's not home, let's go get him.
And then the final thing that came in since last show is this, everybody was talking about, there's this location sharing company and everybody's location is commercially available. Did you see any of this? It was in the New York Times. Everybody was writing about it.
I saw none of it.
So the name of the company is, let me see. I must have it here somewhere. Like Location Securos or something. And they have a little web form, and you fill out the web form with your phone number. They send you a text message. You reply to the text message with yes, it's okay to track me for this test only. And then the web page that you were on changes and says, okay, here's where this phone is located. And many people have said right down to their front door almost. And the claim is that this company is getting this data from the phones themselves through the carriers, that it's available commercially, and that things like your GPS chip and other processing information is handing off your location data continuously, and therefore it somehow is available. The great thing is, I tried it with the Nokia E71. Both times, cannot locate this phone. So either it's because there's no spy chips in this particular phone.
There's probably no spy chips in the phone. Those are recent.
Or it could also be that I had to do the web form on a different device. And so maybe it tries to correlate the two, because I'm very wary of that.
That's pretty advanced. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
I doubt there's right now I could say the same thing about my phone, though.
Well, you should try it. You should try that form. It's in the show notes. You should try that after the show.
Try the form. But, the phone, of course, is in its usual situation, off and in a cabinet where I keep it.
In a Faraday cabinet.
No, I don't need it. Well, you could, but I don't believe it's being remotely turned on. I suppose it's possible. Although I think like anyone worried about that, yes, you can put a piece of aluminum foil over it. You don't really need a Faraday anything, but because I tested the aluminum foil after I wore the hat for a while, and it seems to work. And by the way, and for all you Apple users, if you really think they're going to turn your phone on and off automatically, just take the battery out.
Always a winner, this joke. Anyway, I was very happy. I'm like, okay, this is another benefit of this phone. No tracking, at least not through this third party. And then it kind of hit me that, a lot of people who believe, and if it's not happening, I'm sure it is somewhere and it will be in the future, that your phone is listening to you. So many stories of people saying, I was talking with someone about dog toys and then I got all these ads for dog toys.
Yeah, I don't believe a word of this.
I think
this part of it I give up on, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
I have had more people, especially in the last few months, butt dial me. And I listen in.
Right.
I know it's a butt dial because I can hear the mumbling and grumbling going on in the background, and the guy is oblivious. And sometimes I'll yell into the phone. I'll yell it, but no, nothing, because it's in the pocket, it's on the desk. I don't know where the phone is. I have never been able to hear a conversation that's intelligible. It's impossible.
Right. Well, we've been through this.
So this idea that the
hold
phone
on,
is
John. I'm just going to push back again, like I did the last time you said this. The GSM cell quality is very different from a high-end digital transmission over data. A very different quality. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but that's just factually different. You'll agree with me on that, I hope.
I am going to blame this on the little microphone
some of these things, like the iPhone has 5 mics. I mean, there's a lot more technology in these things than you realize. But
I would like to see a demo. I'll be a believer not after the hypothetical argument. I'll be a believer when somebody shows me this this concept in action.
Okay. Well, I don't think that's actually
understand a word of what anyone's saying.
I don't think that's actually where they're getting it from. I'm thinking this now, especially Google spent so much time mapping out remember, everything is about location with these fuckers. You know, the Google Earth was one of their main products early on.
Are they sitting there? Are they literally fuckers?
Yeah, they are. They are little fuckers. Yes, they are. Sorry. Remember when they were doing the maps, driving around? Oh, by the way, we're also collecting all your Wi-Fi names and all that.
They still do that.
Yeah. Oh, that was just a mistake. No, it wasn't.
They still do it as far as I can tell.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
In fact, it's gotten worse to the point where if you want to use Google Maps, which I did a whole column about how you sign your life away, and that column got very little play, by the way.
No, people don't care. But
anyway, you sign your life away when you use Google Maps. Literally sign your life away, and all this stuff. Now you've given away these. If you use the product, they demand you turn on the Wi-Fi thing. So I was like, well, we can't do the job unless you got the whole thing turned on and we get all your information.
Yeah, you can't use it. Yeah, and if you don't agree to the terms, no maps for you. Correct. I've been using, maps. I actually look at the map. It's easier.
But it's a very good way to get the lay of the land is to have an actual street map.
But here's what's happening. And after I read a story about a father whose son wanted one of those fan wings. What do you call it? You know, you strap the big fan on your back, and you've got a paramotor. There it is. So it's a paraglider with a motor. And the kid's like, I really want this. You know, he's 12 years old, whatever. And then the father, all of a sudden, YouTube videos start to show up suggesting paramotoring. And he's like, hold on a second. Of course, he had never looked at that. How does this happen? And he came up with a whole, it was like contact list. That could be it. But I think proximity is where it's at. If there are two people who are identified as being in the same place, I think that's when they start to merge interests. And, so maybe the kid also got some videos his dad was watching. He might not have noticed, and probably goes unnoticed a large percentage of the time. But, if someone's, looking at certain types of content and then they're in close proximity for X amount of time to someone else, then give them some of that content. They may be interested, or they may have just talked about that, and it would be interesting to see what happens when it shows up. I think they're doing it with location proximity.
Well, we have to come to one of two conclusions here, because I'm hearing a contradiction of our basic thesis, which is that they keep advertising to us stuff that we already bought.
Different algo.
And they're complete idiots.
Different
and
algo.
Now they're the most advanced.
I don't think that's
man.
Stop. I don't think that's advanced at all. How is that advanced? You have the location, continuous real-time location data from everybody. Except for me.
It's pretty advanced to have that information and be able to use it for anything.
Yeah, but as I started off, they've had this for decades. This is the core of their company. And so now all they have to do is say, hey, these guys are in the same room. Maybe we should share some content they're looking at. I don't think that's incredibly advanced.
I think it is.
Wow. Well, someone's going to write in and they'll know if it's happening or not.
I don't think it's happening.
And I am also... this was a while ago. I got a suggested friend of someone who I've never even communicated with digitally, but they were in my proximity several times. So how do they know? And this person has no relationship to me, no family, no other friends. It was definitely not a friend related.
You just walked by them.
No, we were in proximity several
Probably
times.
In the same spin class.
All right. You're not taking me seriously. You think it's very advanced?
I'm taking you very seriously, and I think your experiments with the OTG off the grid mechanism is definitely part of the show now. But but it's a little bit much for me. Like I said, I've heard these. Maybe
I think it's more believable than we heard what you said. I'm with you on that. I'm much more. I mean, I see how lame the recognition really is. Although Google is sometimes impressive, but
let's get back to those microphone arrays that are used in the Alexa box.
Yeah, talking to.
Has anybody out there just torn this box apart and stolen those mics? I think that the cost of those mics.
I wouldn't steal it. I'd use the box and put my own stuff in
maybe
there.
if you could. There's all kinds of the $1,000 reward if you can hack the box. It's not floating around.
You mean where you change the name? I saw that.
No, not change the name.
Yes,
You've already done that.
No. The $1,000 reward, I have the story right here, is if you can change the name.
Oh, well, you've already done that, haven't you?
I know, yes.
Well, why don't you go collect your money?
I'm not going to do that.
Anyway, the point is
not
that
to.
I'm talking about, I think a better system, maybe some better speakers. I think they sound tinny. I don't care what anybody thinks. But it's those microphones. A microphone arrays cost thousands of dollars if you go try to buy one. They're very high tech, especially if you can get it, and getting them to work is another thing. They're used for all kinds. Some recordists will use them for very advanced recording techniques, and they're very, very expensive. Now, I don't know what. Maybe these are just cheap little electret condensers, which would be my guess. It's set up in an array with some software that makes it work, so it can hear everything. Still, you can't. It's not the kind of thing that's for sale. Does your little box that you put together from scratch have a microphone array in it like that, or just one dumb mic?
One dumb mic.
Yeah,
of course. It also no. Of course, it doesn't have that. And I would love to have a microphone array on it. Now that I control it, now that it does what I control it. Yes, and the Nest is next, and then I think we're pretty clear here. Although I'm not so sure about my TV, I got to check that thing too now.
Looking at you.
Yeah. And so, with all of this going down, Facebook has come out in the past week talking about fake accounts they've been deleting, and I've always questioned their numbers, and it's like one of those things we don't even question anymore. It's so embedded. Facebook has 2 billion people. It was only 1 billion a couple of years ago, but okay, 2 billion people. Yet, they deleted 1.3 billion fake accounts in the last 6 months. So does that mean they deleted half their user base? Does it mean they miscounted their user base? Or are they so good that they have actually 3.3 billion users and they had always discounted the 1.3 billion fake accounts? I mean, someone has to ask the question, and I'd like to have an answer. How many users do they have? Well, but where's Wall Street on this? If I was investing in this, I'd be, hey, hold on a second. They have the revenue per user, the ARPUs. That's what they live on. Yet you're deleting hundreds of millions of accounts. So what is it?
I don't know.
I'm just surprised that everyone
cares.
Everyone just
knows. As long as the money's rolling in.
But where's the press?
Earnings.
Where's the media?
Earnings.
Where's the media? Where are people asking these questions?
Well, we are.
I think actually Twitter is. I'm a little bullish on Twitter.
Why?
Well, they have the right idea. They're executing it very poorly. They just announced a big change in their API, which changes. I've always said that their API is what they should be charging money for. But okay, they've decided they will now be 2 tiers. You will have the free tier, which you can use for your app, but likes and favorites or retweets, quoted tweets will be delayed up to about 2 minutes before those come through on the API, which I guess is just horrific for people. Oh, I don't know if I'm liked yet. I have to wait 2 minutes. And if you want to buy access to the full streaming API, it will be if you have an app that has up to 250 accounts, you can have access to the API for $2,899 per month.
That's not a bad deal.
Well, it is if you're Twitterific or TweetDeck or any of these types of companies.
No, it is for them. I'm saying for a marketing guy.
Yes, I think it's actually very smart. They should have done this a long time ago. They need to have different price structure in place.
Well, something else is going on, too, because they have apparently the Library of Congress gave up. You know, the project, we're going to archive all these tweets. They said, we can't do it.
It's too much work.
Too much work. It's too much crap. It's just, no, we're not doing it. So I guess that whole project is dead.
Yeah, the only thing that is officially archived, as far as we know, is this show in the Royal Dutch Archives.
Yes, and I want to remind people of that because we tried to use it as leverage to get people. Now, everyone who said call out to their mom is now forever archived for all of history, the annals of time. Some 1,000 years from now, your mother will be remembered.
Yes. It was a good ploy.
Those kinds of archives don't go away.
No, they don't.
It's like those old giant books, and they're always doing these, history investigators or whatever it is on PBS, and they dig around and they go into Leeds, some old town in England, and they go into the archives. There's big giant books, it's huge, and they flip them open, and there's in 1410, there's where Dorothy married Jim, and it goes on and on. Yeah, that's what you're getting with the No Agenda show.
Yep, and you get life-saving tips. Such as how to not go stir crazy from being continuously pinged by your phone. There was a story in the Wall Street Journal about some. I
just get the bit, going back to the woman or the women or the men too, but mostly women walking around with the phone in their hand, and then they check it every so. Yeah. What are they checking it for? For
dopamine hits.
Yeah, well,
it's an addiction. It's for a dopamine hit. That's what it's for. There is no reason. It's been so nice. Although I walk outside and I'm looking at everybody and no one's looking back because they're all hunched over. They're all bent down.
Yeah, so you can't do your hello, how you doing?
No. Some of them are, people say, I'm going to do a video. So I'll walk out my building and I'll do a video because there's always people on the benches.
Well, before you do the video, have you ever thought of like slowly moving toward them and then kind of, you see they're completely distracting. You jump in front of them and you just look like you're walking and then they plow into you. Have you done that?
I've considered it.
I've done it a number of times.
Yeah, but you can get away with it. Me, the pick a fight. Hey, thank God he had some quarters in his pocket. Kick that Curry's ass. There was a boss at some company. What is it? I don't know what company it is, but he did his internal survey. There's a big story on it. That the time people spend on their phone during the workday is an average of 2 hours and 25 minutes. Think about that. 2 hours and 25 minutes. That's a lot. That's a lot.
So when you're going to do a video, what was the video?
Oh, I'm going to walk out the building and I'll show all of the women walking around with the phones, with the knobs on the phones.
Yeah,
and by the way, it's mainly women. Women seem to be a lot more susceptible to this. I'm not sure why. I have not seen any research on that.
Well, there should be some research on it. It needs to be studied. I'm always irked by the lack of research. You had all these sociology departments all over the country and all these colleges, and they don't do the work that they should be doing.
Right.
I mean, come on, people.
Instead, we have Silicon Valley doing things like this. I got a note from Z, one of our producers. His sister was taking notes in Microsoft Word while at work. She noticed the red underline indicating a misspelled word, different from the green underline for grammar mistakes. When she right-clicked the word was maternity as a part of maternity leave. Microsoft Word suggested she use more gender-neutral language such as parental leave, family leave, childcare leave. So this is now creeping into the software.
That couldn't have been with a red line.
I have a picture of it right here. There's a picture. It's a red dotted line.
A red dotted line, not a red underline.
It's underlined. It's red underlined, but it's dashes, I would say. Little short dashes. So that seems to be the behavior.
I use Word all the time, and I've never seen anything like this. Is some other add-in. This is not, no.
Do you think maybe she got some kind of macro or something? Because it seems to be coming from the dictionary. Right clicks. I have
no idea. I'd like to. Can you forward me that letter? I want to follow up on this.
Yeah, or
call them for me if it's true.
Well, hold on a second.
This reminds me of my old PC World story, which I've told on the show at least twice. Oh, somebody's calling. Well, you're looking that up. Stall, where I can hang up the phone.
Okay, I'm opening up Microsoft Word as a part of the Office 365 suite. Let me see now. I'm going to open up a blank document, and we should tell them to go on maternity leave. And let me see. I have no spelling errors. Why is that?
Because there's no spelling errors.
No. All right. Well, that's very interesting. I don't know why. It doesn't show up that way for me. You're right.
It won't show up for anybody. I don't know what's going on there.
Well,
that's what I'd like to.
She's got a screenshot, so all right. I will forward you the story.
Follow up on it.
Yeah, I wonder. It might have been something. You might have been some kind of plug-in.
Has to be something.
Well, we'll find out. If that's true, I mean, that's pretty spectacular.
Unless you're just being bullshitted.
Possibly, but it's an actual shot of the screen, so it's not a screenshot.
No, I can use Photoshop too.
Why? Okay. All right. Sure.
I know. Why would you do it? It doesn't make any sense unless you just have a bone to pick with politically correct language.
Yeah.
And this is an example. I mean, I could see somebody, but it's still too much work.
But it was one of our producer's sisters, so that's why I put some weight on it. Give them a little bit.
She listened to the show.
No. I don't think so.
All right. So, on to the news. We have news.
Yeah. Well, we got Stormy's lawyer.
We're going to give up on Stormy's stories, but let's do the North Korea stuff because that's the most interesting to me.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Now, I have two different clips. I've got a clip, a follow-up, and then I have a point to make, which is not being discussed in these clips, and I'm asking the question of you, why do you think that is? Let's start with the ABC North Korea begs off report.
President dealing with something else, North Korea. Will the summit take place after all? Tonight here, the first standoff before the summit. North Korea now threatening to cancel the talks. Today slamming the U.S. for what it calls one-sided demands to give up its nuclear weapons. The president was asked today whether the summit is still on. And ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl with how he answered.
If President Trump is rattled by the latest threats from North Korea, he's not showing it.
We'll see what happens. We'll see. Time will tell.
Earlier, Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said the latest move by North Korea came as no surprise.
This is something that we fully expected.
But the change in tone is dramatic. From the all-smiles meetings between Kim Jong-un and the Secretary of State to an angry statement by North Korea's chief negotiator saying he is totally disappointed by the extremely unjust recent comments by U.S. officials. He singled out the American demand that North Korea give up all its nuclear weapons before getting anything in return.
We want to see the denuclearization process so completely underway that it's irreversible.
North Korea now says such talk could scuttle the summit. If the U.S. is trying to drive us into a corner to force our unilateral nuclear abandonment, we will no longer be interested in such dialogue. The North Koreans seem particularly upset by National Security Advisor John Bolton, who called on them to do what Libya did more than a decade ago.
We have very much in mind the Libya model from 2003, 2004.
The Libya model? After Libya gave up its nuclear program, Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi was overthrown and murdered on the streets. North Korea once called Bolton human scum. Today they add, quote, "We do not hide our feelings of repugnance towards him." They may also be aware of the political stakes for President Trump, who is mused about winning a Nobel Prize.
That's very nice. Thank you. That's very nice. Nobel. I just want to get the job done.
Now, that's not That's not Trump musing about winning the Nobel. It's not like he's sitting there going, "Oh, let me drink some more sherry and think about the Nobel Prize." It's the crowd chanting "Nobel, Nobel."
Yeah.
Which is not presented that way by the reporter.
Which I'm pretty sure was sparked by the M5M media to start with.
I think it was.
And here's how it went. Oh, my God, you don't think the a-hole with the orange clown will win a Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's a follow-up to this, which this is as the story continues. This is ABC North Korea begs off report 2. This is kind of how the report ends, and it almost is anticlimactic because what it tells me is that this, they're making the story more dramatic than it needs to be if what they're now going to say is true.
So let's get to John Carl. He's live at the briefing room there inside the White House tonight. And John, the summit now less than a month away. Bottom line tonight for folks at home, does the White House think this summit is going to happen?
Well, the planning for the summit continues. And as you have seen with the muted response from the White House to the latest from North Korea, they don't want to do anything to throw it off. So for now, David, at least, it is all systems go.
All right, John Carl there at the White House. John, thanks as always. Next tonight.
What was that? All systems go anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's as though that this is just a story that the media is creating. And,
yes.
And, of course, they are targeting Bolton, which is, I think, a positive thing. The guy's a jerk.
Well, the first time I saw the story, I immediately thought, we have a full 3 weeks, maybe even a little more, before the meeting. We got to keep it on the radar because it's ratings. You just keep some tension. It could have been launched by any of the negotiating parties, but more likely launched by the media itself.
That's kind of what I'm guessing. But the media is not covering it accurately. There is some issue. And it came from The Economist because I have get their newsletter. And on May 16th, Wednesday, they sent out a bulletin. And I was just going to read this today. And I'm going to read this. And then I want to play the next clip from NBC. And I wanted you to try to find me in this report, which was yesterday. Or this was Friday. So this is like 2 days later. Find any mention of what I'm about to read to you.
Okay.
North Korea announced today that it was canceling high-level talks with the South. It also threatened to pull out of a summit with America. The reasons it cited, by the way, they're canceling both the talks, which are the ones for the peace agreement, and the meeting. The reasons it cited were long-scheduled military exercises between America and South Korea.
Yeah. Are we doing that again?
America's insistence that it must unilaterally force war. Now, the argument is that, well, we've already talked about that we're going to still do these exercises, but what the North Korean says, yeah, you were going to do them, but now you're bringing in all the stealth bombers, and you're going to practice a decapitation exercise.
Oh. Well, that's not very nice. That's not very neighborly of us.
No, not very neighborly at all. And I don't even know if Trump knows this is going on. But meanwhile, they're not going to even mention this on the mainstream media. And I think that it was a mistake that The Economist pushed it out there because I don't think they want us to know this. So let's play the NBC version of the story, which has no mention of any of this.
The White House, thank you. Tonight, after weeks of hype, there are new doubts over whether that face-to-face meeting between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will even happen at all. The North Koreans are balking over demands about their nuclear weapons program. President Trump is not backing down. NBC's Peter Alexander now has the latest.
Thank you very much.
Tonight, the summit standoff. President Trump, for the first time, addressing North Korea's threats to call off next month's historic meeting with Kim Jong-un.
We'll have to see. We haven't seen anything. We haven't heard anything. We will see what happens.
The president standing by his demand that a deal include North Korea get rid of its nuclear weapons. But today, one of Kim Jong-un's top deputies is framing that as a non-starter, warning we are no longer interested in a negotiation that will be all about driving us into a corner and making a one-sided demand. The North now taking aim at National Security Advisor John Bolton, blasting him as repugnant, seizing on these recent comments comments.
We have very much in mind the Libya model from 2003, 2004.
Bolton citing Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi's agreement to shut down its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. But years later, Gaddafi was deposed and killed. The White House today downplaying Bolton's comments.
This is the President Trump model. He's going to run this the way he sees fit. We're 100% confident.
North Korea's defiant stance a sharp reversal from recent conciliatory steps, including the release of 3 U.S. prisoners last week. But experts warn Kim Jong-un's gamesmanship, looking for maximum leverage, is nothing new.
The North Koreans are very good at surprising us, but if we had any sense of history, we would have understand that this is a page from their playbook.
Also tonight, as President Trump gears up for that scheduled summit, ousted Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is delivering an apparent swipe at the president, warning that the U.S. is experiencing, in his words, a growing crisis in ethics and integrity.
If our leaders seek to conceal the truth, or we as people become accepting of alternative realities that are no longer grounded in facts, then we as American citizens are on a pathway to relinquishing our freedom.
Those remarks part of a commencement address at a military college where Tillerson never mentioned the president by name.
Now, first of all, pushing these two stories into each other was chicken shit, which is typical NBC stuff, because they didn't have anything bad to say. They don't mention the fact that they're still going kind of ahead as scheduled, even though it was kind of pushed at the beginning of that story. But they bring in the guy who says, oh, this is nothing new. It's the North Korean playbook, even though we're the one driving them to this playbook. It's our playbook more than it is theirs, it seems to me. And then they call it a summit standoff, adding some sort of drama to it.
Well, the Chiron guys had a little time because they'd done all the Stormy Daniels stuff at Chiron, so they needed a new slogan. And it's the summit standoff. Good work, Chiron department.
And then we have this Bolton character who shouldn't even be in that job. He's got to be
in there to get kicked out or something.
Well, he's going to get kicked out, but he's a stooge for the neocons.
Yeah.
And he drops this little gem in there. We all knew that it was, and I hate to use the word, but I'm going to start using it. We knew it was a dog whistle.
Mm-hmm.
This idea of, just like we did with Libya.
Right.
And Libya was the biggest double cross that West has ever pulled on any of these countries. You know, suckering Gaddafi, being this best buddy, and then all of a sudden, just brutalizing him in the streets, and murdering him.
With this.
So, that is the land of unconfirmed.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
We killed him. Good work, Huma.
So this is really there's something up here with this whole story, and the neocons in particular, and I think, and obviously the military-industrial complex does not want this to happen, and now we're seeing evidence of it. It is going to kill sales of armaments.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure that the more I listen to you and those clips, this is obviously the media making this tension, not dissimilar to what have we seen? Oh, yes, the poll numbers with Democrats are not as far ahead as they thought. Keep watching for updates. It's all the same. And so Kim Jong-un, his press department gave one statement, and quite honestly, the way Trump started off by saying, and if I don't like what I'll see, I'll walk from the table. So the guy said, well, if we don't like it, we're going to walk from the table, more or less. It's kind of the same thing. We're not going to, if they don't give us what we want, we're not, of course. So it's a cockfight. Big deal. But what I'm looking for is, are we seeing elements from the intelligence community or from the Pentagon who are actively undermining with this same message? I have not seen that yet. Then we'll know, because you would expect them to want to do that. They're the ones that don't really want this to happen. So I would think they'd put their stooges in. I haven't seen them really. It's just a lot of people who just talk.
Well,
it's become
I find
very
the
annoying.
whole thing to be an eye roller, personally.
Well, not dissimilar, and boy, I think we nailed it with the opening of the embassy in Jerusalem. I was questioning, why am I seeing the Palestinians on TV at the in Gaza and fighting and burning tires for 2 weeks, and you never see it. It hasn't been on for a long time, and then all of a sudden it ramps up. Like, oh, yeah, of course, the embassy's opening. And, yeah, every news report, every publication, the New York Times, here's people dying, here's Ivanka. Here's an old lady covered in dirt throwing rocks at heavily armed IDF. And here's Jared and Ivanka. I mean, come on. That was, I mean, I don't care who you do that to. That was just mean.
Well, let's list. I have 2 clips.
Okay. What you got?
Well, first of all, I've got a clip from some guy. He was on CNN or MSNBC. This is the guy. I can't remember this guy, but he's just some black guy. And he was, this is the guy on Hamas again, dog whistle CNN. And this, I just want people to hear this. It's been floating around. This little guy, this guy's irked about the deaths, and he blames it on Trump, of course.
It's important that the foreign policy is generating uncertainty. Deep uncertainty, right? That is cascading chaos on the
But here's the foreign policy is not what the Congress members of the House and Senate are campaigning on right now. They need to campaign on domestic issues where they have a stance. So while Donald Trump is doing this and may look for a deflection, it's not necessarily going to help the midterms.
All of that's important, and all of those babies are dead. All of those people are dead. They're dead. And we're talking about racehorses. I mean, the politics. I mean, there are a lot of folks who are dead today. For what? I'm sorry. This is me being a moralist, I suppose.
No, I understand. And the White House today, their response to that was it is Hamas's fault, and they're using them as tools for propaganda.
That's like saying the children in the Children's March of Birmingham, it was their fault that Bull Connor attacked them.
Who was this guy?
I don't know. I forgot his name. I didn't write it down. I made a mistake. But it's just this kind of, false equivalency. Bull Connor didn't kill a bunch of babies. And how many babies were killed? These were the people that were attacking the border. Were there babies there attacking the border? I mean, this whole thing is just like completely twisted. It's almost sickening to listen to these people. Now, let's listen to Richard Engel, who is a stooge for the intelligence community. And when I hear this report, I would say that I don't know if he works for CIA or if he works for I don't know who he works for. CIA is my suspicion based on his, when he was asked during that era, if you remember when Feinstein was being spied upon by the agency when she was trying to do this torture report, and she did the torture report, and then they wanted to release it to the public. And then Richard Engel was one of the guys, no, you shouldn't do it. And I actually paid attention to all the guys who said they shouldn't do it. Those are all people that are on the payroll. It seems to me that's the only reason.
It would be illegal, according to the Cuomo kid, for you to read it. It's only for news people.
And so the point is that if you're a news person, why would you want to repress anything that is of interest that can help you develop news stories? Why would you be against WikiLeaks if you're a news person? Why would you be against the release of this if you're a news person?
You'll recall that they were all for WikiLeaks when Snowden was out there, and everyone thought it was great. But then when it started doing stuff that turned out to be favorable to Trump, people started to hate WikiLeaks. That's what happened. I remember how popular WikiLeaks was.
That element's in play, but now they totally hate WikiLeaks. But going back to the Feinstein documents, why as a newsman would you say it shouldn't be released?
Because he's probably in the document.
Well, Engel is he's sitting there, he's getting gassed, he's pulling one of those, I forgot it, the guy that used to be on CNN when Bush Sr. was bombing the Iraqis, and he was at the roof and he's ducking bullets.
Oh, yeah. And he had the helmet on. He was the one in front of the phone.
Ducking bullets.
They had the phony studio in the basement.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone in the control room will know.
And he used to be the rocket jockey or something. They had some nickname for him because he was a hunk. And,
a hunk? A hunk?
He was a hunk.
Geraldo?
No, it was some other guy. He's long gone.
Richard Arnett? I know Richard Arnett
No, it wasn't Richard Arnett. Or Peter Arnett.
Peter Arnett. Peter Arnett.
Yeah, no, he's an old British guy. Anyway, this Engel's like being gassed, and he has to do the report and put on the gas mask and say his last word. And he's all this. And then at the very end of this report, he's visibly angry about the fact that the Palestinians are getting gassed and shot at. And I don't know what he wants for the alternative. Does he want the Palestinians to invade Israel? I don't know what the alternative to this is. But he's irked by the whole thing. Let's play this.
Dork.
There is new fallout this evening from those deadly clashes between Israeli forces and Palestinians protesting the opening of the new U.S. embassy in Jerusalem. The region already on edge with new violence erupting today. NBC chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has more now from Gaza.
In Gaza, angry funerals today after health officials say Israeli troops shot dead more than 60 Palestinian protesters, including 6 children Monday when they tried to rush the Israeli border. Cameras catching them fall after being hit. And today in Gaza, Israel seemed determined not to repeat the bloodshed, using an air campaign to keep protesters from ever reaching the border fence. Drones hovered above the protesters, dropping small tear gas bombs. 2 loads per drone, flying nonstop. You never knew when or where they'd drop.
Hey, turn around.
These protests are not letting up. Among Palestinians, there is now no conviction that President Trump is an arbiter for the peace process. As far as they're concerned, the peace process is over. And without hope for a negotiated peace, extremists have a free hand to fuel Palestinian anger. The leader of Hamas, which runs the Gaza Strip, arrived unannounced at a main demonstration. His militant supporters calling for rockets to fly toward Israel. And while UN human rights officials are criticizing Israel for using lethal force against protesters, Israel and the Trump administration are blaming Hamas for sparking the latest round of violence.
No country in this chamber would act with more restraint than Israel has.
That's not the feeling here in Gaza now. They feel hopeless and ignored. There's no talk of a peace process now. Not even talk of peace. Lester?
All right, Richard Engel in Gaza. Thank you.
Yeah. I fixed the report for him, too. Did you hear that? I fixed a little bit.
No, sorry?
No, I fixed his report. You know, he had this bit here. Where is he?
Hand to fuel Palestinian anger.
Somewhere talking about
the leader
rockets.
of Hamas, which runs the Gaza Strip, arrived unannounced at a main demonstration. His militant supporters calling for rockets to fly. And while UN human rights officials...
See, I fixed it. I made his report. He could have done that. Why he didn't sweeten it. Now, I'd asked a number of our producers living in Israel. We had a couple of nights there. You know, send us some feedback about the media and how what is going on. Why all of this all of a sudden? And I didn't get anything. Well, I got different stuff from Sir Brian of London, but Sir Jono, Elder of Zion, he says, hey, okay, I'll answer your question. I like it best when you guys don't talk about Israel, but obviously anything I say on the subject is very biased. I am unapologetically a Zionist and supporter of my country. I wouldn't have immigrated here from Australia and stayed 30 years if I wasn't. I don't think we are perfect, but I also think we are often unfairly maligned in the media. I believe it was John C. Dvorak who once said something like this, and I think it was quite accurate. Quote, the media is controlled by self-loathing Jews. Love you guys, Sir Jono. And I thought, that's the best. I don't recall you actually saying that precisely like that, but I
don't remember
like
it either, but I'll take credit for anything that's good.
Yeah. So that would be it then. There's your answer. We know everything.
Well, I think there's some truth to that.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for, can I get an array, Dvorak?
And the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. And the morning to all ships and sea boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, names and nights out there.
And in the morning to the troll room, noagendastream.com. I had a thought the other day. You know, have some people upload the show to YouTube. They'll take the recording.
Yeah.
I think it would be, if you're going to do that anyway, why don't you do a screen recording synchronized with the show of the troll room?
That's an idea.
I mean, I've seen it before. It's not like it's really hard to do. Just do a screen grab with that rolling by. You can actually see how much information comes from the troll room. which is more than people think, probably. They're very helpful.
I think that's a great idea. And that, well, of course, it would be a good idea coming from you. You're the podfather.
There, yes, disputed now at times. Disputed, but okay. Also want to say in the morning to Nick the Rat. He brought us the artwork for episode 1033. The title of that was Swagger. And Nick knows us. He's been around for a long time with the show, so he knows that on Mother's Day, we just want a big heart that says Mom in it. And he was right. That's exactly what we wanted. And it turned out beautiful. Very happy with it.
Yeah, it stands out.
No Agenda Art. Out. Yes, noagendaartgenerator.com. We appreciate all the work that our artists do. And I'm telling you, it makes a difference for this show. If you use any type of, well, certainly the iPhone app, but I think Overcast does it as well. You see a whole bunch of shows, and then all of a sudden your eye falls on, oh, wait a minute, that's different, because it's a different piece of artwork. Unlike the rest, which remains pretty static either throughout the show's lifetime or changed sporadically, I think it entices listening, and I'm very grateful for it. So noagendaartgenerator.com. Thank you, artists.
Well, it looks very slick when you go to the Roku No Agenda show.
Oh, yeah, you got a channel there, right?
There's two things. One, that you can click on streaming, and it'll blast the stream. Mm-hmm. Or two, you can click on the show, and it shows the shows. It has, I think, an archive of about 12 shows, and each one with the different arts. Very attractive as they come flopping up at you. Mm. You see the different art.
Oh, yes, on the Roku interface. That'll look good. I'll check it out.
Yeah, you should. Looks cool. It's very well done.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's thank a few people for being executive and associate executive producers for show 1034. I believe that's the number. Sir K-Mac of Pennsylvania at $550, or of PA. I don't know, it could be anything. Finally breaking my donation absence after the unbelievable BOGO night episodes I had to sit through. You don't have to sit through anything. He got triggered by Eric's half-price rings, and I had to end my silence and unleash the fury within before air named cancer karma. Before air
needs cancer karma.
Before air need cancer karma. Okay. The idea of knighthood is a special one.
I know. I remember this. You actually emailed the guy twice.
A complaint.
Yeah, he has a complaint. His complaint was he felt that our buy one, get one off, which was not entirely that, but it was, if you donated, it would count double towards a knighthood on our 10th anniversary. He felt that was a ripoff. And
we sold out.
We sold out. I'm not quite sure to whom, as you pointed out.
I've asked him in letters who we sold out. We sold out to who? And then he sent something back that had nothing to do with that question. I said again, we sold out to who? And he still hasn't responded to that I know of. Maybe he did. I didn't hear it, but I still don't sure who we sold out to.
Well, I think he just wanted to air his grievance.
Right.
And if you send us a donation as an executive producer, go for it.
Yeah, you can grieve all you want.
Yeah.
Or grievance all you want.
He also thinks we're splitting well over 7 figures.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, maybe in the next life. One given to a person showing beyond human support for a monarch or had been inherited for a long time, blah, blah, blah. Now it appears King Arthur is giving out knighthoods to coupon cutters and stable boys who happen to scrape up enough change to turn in with his stamp book he's been filling out. This is very insulting to everybody who took part in the 10th anniversary celebration, I will say. But we thank you for your $550.
Yes, thank you for your courage, and I hope everything gets better. Here is your requested F Cancer Karma.
You've got karma.
Henry Cunningham, $333.33. In the morning, John and Adam. It's been a while, but the donation should bring me to knighthood, and if you're still offering to throw in the extra penny.
I think I got one here. Yep. I have it from 2 shows ago.
I just have a roll of quarters in my pocket. Mm-hmm. Last I donated, it was back in 2016 to bully Adam into going on the Night Attack show with the jury and Salty Tushwood. Seems that it was a success. You did go on the show, and according to a recent broadcast, they have to move to a larger space because of all the weed Adam smoked on the show.
Yeah, I broke their studio.
That reference to the episode reminded me that I have become a douchebag by not donating for nearly 2 years.
Oh, boy.
This indeed brings me to nice status. I'd like to be knighted Attack Knight, the Knight Attack Knight who might attack Knight Attack.
Nice.
Love and life.
I look forward to that, Henry. We shall make you so, good sir. Thank you for your support. Oh, I wasn't ready.
You haven't been ready recently for these guys. Sir Duke Thomas Nussbaum.
I'll try.
Nussbaum!
No, my favorite is
the devil.
Nussbaum. And then finally, the final one.
Shit. There's not ants on the mic. Nussbaum.
Nussbaum! It's a Nussbaum.
Nussbaum! Nussbaum!
Nussbaum! There you go. No, what more do you want?
In Virginia Beach, Virginia, $314.59. When you read this, I'm driving from Virginia to St. Louis, love and light, hugs and kisses. Finish antibiotics, even though symptoms do not persist. Send pics.
Okay, you do the same, Sir Nussbaum. One of our big supporters here on the show.
Don't drive and text.
Yeah.
Anonymous, $233.34. This should bring me to knighthood. If all is well, please commemoratively knight me as Sir 1034 for show 1034.
Oh, okay.
Keep it up, gents. And he's got the accounting. I messed up my note sending for the 10th anniversary and didn't feel like pestering you about it. Thanks for keeping it anonymous, though. This here donation should at least bring me over Canadian knighthood, which in turn makes you feel less cheap. Have a good one.
Okay. Well, he's on the list for a knighting today, so you're good to go. And thank you.
And then another anonymous from Denver, Colorado comes in with $200. Hi, all. Anonymous from Denver here. Love the show, of course. So here's a couple hundred that I hope will be spent
he says
on
hundos.
A couple of hundos. Yeah, he says hundos. A couple of hundos that I hope we should all use hundo.
I like hundos.
That I hope will be spent on booze. My comment to your last segment on furry kids and urban millennials is pretty on point, but let's not forget that men are putting off children because they're putting off marriage. Rent here is high and budgets are tight, not to mention the dating scene in the city is bizarre and off limits to any man who dares not to declare himself a feminist.
Well, wait a minute. Whose fault is it then? Is it the men?
I don't believe it's the men's fault. They shouldn't have to declare themselves anything.
No,
except themselves.
Feminist. Yes.
I am myself. If you're not a feminist, I'm not going to date you, loser. Is that an Android phone or an Apple phone? It's an Android, you're a loser.
No. I heard if someone at one of the universities, if you don't have an iPhone, people wonder if you're on welfare.
Yeah. Loser is what I said, loser.
Yeah, if your text shows up in green instead of blue, you're clearly a loser.
We talked about this about 2 years ago when the millennials in the house here mentioned that you can't get a date in San Francisco unless you show an iPhone at bar.
Yeah, that means otherwise you ain't got no money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's bogus. I mean, I think it's probably true, but I think it's a bogus.
No, it's very bogus.
Determinant.
But
I think that as a determinant, it's a terrible thing. It's materialistic and very shallow.
Didn't that start with Nike? When did the real rage over cheap items made in China, overpriced with a brand logo? When was it?
I think Nike's probably the progenitor of it. Sure. I mean, the thing I always buy tennis shoes that are comfortable and fit well.
Yes,
it's different, which tends to be Reeboks in my case. Which is
given up on the Speedos.
Those I don't wear Speedo. I wear Speedo Crocs.
Yeah,
Crocs.
Well, no, hold on.
They don't even make those
hold
anymore.
On a second.
It's years
After
ago.
10 years, I finally say Speedos instead of Crocs. Because whenever I would say Crocs, you would say, they're Speedos. Now I say Speedos, and now you say, no, they're Crocs.
No, I said they're essentially, yeah, well, okay, never mind. I don't wear those anymore. They went out. They don't make them.
They went out of style. Yes, correct.
I now wear Skechers.
Yes, they went out of the Skechers. Okay.
Common sense. Let me finish this note.
Yeah.
Common sense dictates that a smart man only has a child with a woman he marries, and thanks to Tinder and whatever dating apps, there aren't a lot out here looking to settle down. With all of this uncertainty, it's only natural to forego baby making till your 30s at the earliest. Enter dog children. Also, pay attention to Colorado's HB 18-1011 just passed, and now marijuana companies can finally have ownership from entities based outside of the state.
Oh,
this is huge and going to result in nice paydays for many in the industry that got in on the ground floor finally. So how about some jobs coming for my Colorado MJ peeps? No jingles needed.
You got it.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And by the way, the name you were looking for earlier was Arthur Kent, also known as the Scud Stud.
Yeah, the Scud
Stud. The Scud Stud, yes.
Yeah. He's looking, he's ducking, he's looking left, he's looking right. It's like they're shooting at him.
We need to be prepared. I think we'll have to be doing more of our little facsimile bits. Where I'm out in the field putting on my gas mask.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
It happened. Anyway, we want to thank all these folks.
Oh, that was it.
Executive producers. Yeah, that was it.
I was hunkering down for a nice long winter's nap. No such luck.
You have 2 associate executive producers and 1, 2, 3 execs.
Yes,
and I want to thank those folks for helping make this show work.
Thank you very much, and we will be thanking more people who came in $50 or above in the second thank you segment. And this is our value for value model. You can just listen to the show, do whatever you want. If you want to support us, go to Dvorak.org/NA, another show coming up on Sunday with your chance to do that.
Dvorak.org/NA.
In the meantime, you get life-saving tips here. We call it the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order.
Shut up.
Yo.
Well, I've got a couple of interesting little stories that reveal kind of maybe some changes in the way things are going to be, the way we're going to be told things.
Okay.
We had a bombing in Southern California where they believe somebody who hated this woman who ran a studio. It wasn't like
what kind of studio?
It was like an exercise place, yoga studio.
Yeah, yoga studio. Yeah.
And so I got this.
Wait a minute. Give me some background. Was anyone, because this really didn't make the news?
She was killed, and about 3 other people were injured by a bomb.
Okay, we don't know who did it.
No, they think it was the ex-boyfriend, but they can't prove that, so they don't know right now.
Okay.
They'll figure it out maybe. But let's just listen to the way the story is presented, because I got some stuff here that's kind of interesting. So this is the bombing in SoCal, kill people. This is the first clip.
Hold on. Let me make sure I got the right one here.
Alex, thank you. And tonight to the deadly explosion inside a building in Southern California. Authorities revealing a woman was killed by what appears to be a package that blew up. The chaotic scene, the FBI on the scene again tonight. A nearby daycare evacuated, the children holding hands. ABC's Kana Whitworth with what authorities revealed late today.
Tonight, authorities saying the deadly explosion that rocked a Southern California community, killing a 40-year-old woman, was no accident. Sheriff's officials say it's possible Ildiko Krynak, the owner of the day spa, may have been targeted.
Investigators are still working to confirm whether or not this was an intentional act.
At this point, our working theory is that this explosion was caused by a device.
An intentional act? Yeah.
unless packages just blow up randomly.
Yeah.
And this genius says we think it was caused by a device,
yes,
which I find was kind of interesting in itself. Let's go to clip 2.
At this point, our working theory is that this explosion was caused by a device.
Sources say preliminary indicators are that the device was inside a package that was dropped off at the business.
At this time, we do not know how the device arrived at the location.
The blast killing Krynak and injuring 3 others. 100 children evacuated from a daycare across the street. Babies wheeled to safety in their cribs.
Oh.
Okay, now that's another little clue. But let's play clip 3, and I want you to identify what has me very concerned.
Told us they do not believe there's a possibility of any other devices at this point.
Right, David. So
they do not believe there's a possibility for any other devices at this point. And she didn't answer it.
No, I didn't. It wasn't important.
Okay.
The answer was no.
Right. What's your concern?
My concern is the sudden use of the word device instead of bomb. If you listen to this entire report, it was never the word bomb was never used. And it started with a package that blew up.
Huh.
And then it became a device. It was a device. It was never a bomb.
Yes.
You compare that to the way they talk about rifles and just you have a rifle. No, it's not a rifle. It's an assault weapon.
Or how about even the bombs that exploded in Austin? Those were called bombs.
Yeah, the bomb is out. The word bomb in this entire report, it was a bomb.
Yeah.
The word bomb was never used once.
In fact, the word device kind of underplays the destruction of it.
Yeah, it's a device, is a dildo.
That's a toy, John. That's not a device. That's a toy.
It's a device. There's a lot of devices out there. I mean, there's all kinds of devices. The computer is a device. A printer is a device. Everything is out. Anything that has mechanical workings is a device. To me, a bomb is not a device. It's a bomb.
I give you points for that. Good catch. And I was listening to it. You already mentioned it. I'm like, but now when they keep doing it, that is interesting. The bomb is out.
Bomb is out. Device is in. Why is that? It's all part of disarming the country. You know, this is why I don't want to just don't draw attention to the fact that people can make bombs and they're a little more deadly, generally speaking, because they're so random than an assault weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Huh.
So, keep an eye out for that little twist.
I like that. Yeah,
and
that's good.
The fact that it starts off with a package that blew up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, package blew up. Oh, yeah, that happens. I had a package blow up.
You got the Trump rotation there in front of you, the list?
I don't.
Oh, it's okay.
But
because
I have the list with the new one on it.
Picked up an addition, kind of an expansion of one of the Trump rotation memes, which was on NPR. Senator Mark Werner was speaking, and I'm just going to let this play. It's about a minute and a half, and you'll hear it pop up when it happens, and you'll hear how they're addressing this.
Now, the standard analysis of Putin's motivation is that he really couldn't stand Hillary Clinton. He saw Bill Clinton as the man who helped expand NATO. And he saw Hillary Clinton as the Secretary of State encouraging anti-Putin, anti-regime protests, and so on. But what could possibly be the motivation to want to have Donald Trump president?
By the way, I think that's a nice question, finally, from NPR to say, if this guy is so unhinged, why did Putin want him to win?
Master of chaos. Russians are...
there you go. I talked right over it.
But what could possibly be the motivation to want to have Donald Trump president, the master of chaos? Russians are anti-chaos.
It's not just chaos, John. He is the master of chaos. The master of chaos.
I will put we got chaos is on the list. I will put master of in parens next to it.
I think it's important because this may come back because this chaos is throughout this whole report, but it all comes from the master of chaos, which I guess is just something he does naturally.
Master of chaos. Russians are anti-chaos. That's certainly characteristic of Putin. Anti-chaos, anti-revolutionary. Why want Donald Trump as president of the United States?
Well, I think there are some people that have made guesses in that area, and I'm not going to get into questions around finances or others, as certain people have asserted.
So his assertion is they've got the screws on him because of money? Yeah, all right, Senator Warner.
But I would also...
Warner's the worst. He's one of the real bad stooges in the world.
That he might be beholden to Russia.
Well, listen, there are press stories on those accounts, but again, I'm not validating or invalidating anything until we're finished with the investigation. But there's obviously been press speculation. But the thing I would might disagree with you on your premise is, I don't think the Russians were necessarily pro one party or another by any means, but they see that chaos in the West is good for Putin, both in terms of reasserting Russia's ascension and also pointing out to his own people, look, see how these democracies, they're not really functioning that well. And if you want America's democracy not function that well, to bring in somebody with Mr. Trump's unusual style, and if you see the kind of chaos and dysfunction that's happened since that time, I would argue if their goal was to further splinter America, get pretty good investment on the ruble.
My goodness. So Putin somehow knew that Trump would just cause chaos, so that's why he wanted him. Okay?
Oh, brother.
The master of chaos.
I like master of chaos. So here's Tucker on, he's discussed, I got 2 Tucker clips, I'm sorry for that, but I do. One of them, he drops the ball completely on the topic, but this one here, he's discussing the Russia assertions. He bases this little segment on the fact that the Daily Beast, I believe, or one of those online news magazines, says that the Democrats never wanted to discuss Russia ever. And so he thought he'd mock that.
Richard Goodstein is a lawyer. He advised both of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaigns, and he joins us tonight for what's going to be a tough conversation for him, I would say, Richard, because
I don't think so.
It's not really plausible to make the case that, look, you can argue that Russia hacked our elections, as Democrats have argued for the last year. They're our main enemy in the world, as they've also argued. And, maybe time will prove you right. I doubt it, but maybe. You can't argue, if you're a Democrat, that what you really wanted to talk about was the issues. You didn't really want to talk about Russia. You just happened to talk about it nonstop for a year. Nobody's going to believe that because it's a lie.
Well, again, it's the intelligence community.
You can kill
Tucker,
the clip.
Not.
I saw the segment.
Yeah, well, I dropped the ball on this clip because I should have had part 1 of the clip.
Yeah, you should have had the one with the...
I had it. I don't know why it's not here.
With all the edited bits.
Yeah, the edited bits. That's what I clipped it for. Somehow I screwed up the clip. Okay, never mind. Now let's go with this, though. This is more interesting. This is Tucker dropping the ball on what I consider to be the most underreported story that any reporter could just have a ball with if they really wanted to do anything, but nobody's doing anything, and he doesn't even care.
And on top of it, the Russia investigation, the key aspect of it, the Russia troll indictment, it's now being turned into an opportunity for the Russia intelligence operations to go into a federal court and demand evidence from Mr. Mueller about what they have on Russia intelligence operations, namely intervention in our elections. What a disaster for the rule of law. And frankly, the president has been victimized through all of this because evidently there's nothing to justify an investigation of him requiring Justice Department resources and authorities the way that's been misused to date.
But I thought, and quickly, but correct me if I'm wrong, the whole point of an independent counsel is to assure the rest of us that the investigation is on the level, that it's not tainted by potential conflicts. Given that, why didn't Mueller try harder to at least seem bipartisan? Maybe hiring one registered Republican as an investigator. He didn't bother to do that.
Isn't Mueller a Republican?
Yeah, well, he might be, but that's beside the point. He was handed this little story, which nobody's picking. A couple of talk show guys are talking about it. But the troll indictment, it turns out, and of course, he didn't even hear this, what the guy just said. I don't know if anybody did, but the troll indictment, it turns out that the troll farm has decided to fight it. So they're coming over here.
Yes, yeah.
And they're going to demand discovery.
Are you sure it's the... I have heard this and has been reported very slightly.
They indicted a bunch of different groups, and one of the groups is coming over.
But it's not the troll factory. It's another one. But it doesn't matter. One of them are calling the Justice Department on it, and they say, well, we need 6 months to get everything ready because they indicted without thinking they would ever show up.
Exactly. They indicted without thinking anybody was going to show up or fight it. It was an indictment for show. It was, hey, look at this. We're indicting these Russians. Oh, I guess they can't come over to fight the indictment. We're just at the find them guilty, but at the court level. No, they're coming over to fight it, which means now the Justice Department and Mueller's group has to provide documentation. Yep. So they're going to just get discovery on these guys. They don't have time for this.
No,
they don't want it. But this is like a huge story because it's an amazing embarrassment for the whole operation, this whole Russia investigation. They're going to fight it. They're going to fight it. They're going to come over and fight it.
Yeah.
And then Tucker just lets it slide right by.
Well, he's a busy man. He's got other things to do.
Too busy to talk about that.
He's too busy. He was prepping for his Thursday night quiz with the other anchors. Every Thursday night he does like a pop quiz. Stupid. Yeah. Well, I have heard this, and I'm not sure where I heard it, but it will be interesting.
Because they're not playing it up. Nobody wants to. It's like a hush-hush deal. It's like, oh, my God, what do we do now? How do we play this? We don't know. Let's not do a report on it.
That's like this other story, although it was in Rolling Stone magazine. I thought this was pretty outrageous. So there was, at one of these Antifa rallies, there was this guy who walloped some kid with a bike lock. A U-shaped bike lock, and he cracked his skull. Yeah, he cracked his skull. Oh, turns out, the internet went to work. 4chan, really, I guess they were able to do better than Special Victim Unit, CSI, or whatever, but they were able to figure out who the guy was. Turns out he's a professor. Hold on, let me see. Where is he from? What school is he from? He's from Bay Area college professor named Eric Clanton. Not just a professor, he's an ethics professor who taught philosophy and critical thinking at Diablo Valley College in the East Bay suburb of Pleasant Hill. That's who's out there cracking skulls as part of Antifa.
Yeah, cracking skull professor.
How about that?
Yeah, well,
I think that's big news. But
no, I didn't. It's local news, and I never heard this story.
Then I picked up this clip from Rachel Maddow, which I'm watching MSNBC. And Rachel Maddow is pretty hard to watch.
She's very hard to watch. She never gets to her point.
No.
And she's always like, everything's a tease, and everything is a long story. And she's always so unctuous. She's just unctuous. She creeps me out. She's this. She's in your face with that kind of a creepy. She's creepy.
What is the definition of unctuous? I like the word.
Well, let's look it up.
Unctuous.
Let's read it from the thing.
From the thing? Oh, you mean the Book of Knowledge?
Consult the Book of Knowledge.
Unctuous. How do you even spell it? UNCIOUS? Unctuous.
UNC TOUS, I think.
Okay, unctuous.
I got it. I nailed it. Okay, she's ingratiating and flattering. She's obsequious, fawning. She's fawning. She's servile.
Fawning. All right, servile.
Yeah, she's she's creepy. It's the only way to describe it.
Yeah.
She's gushing. There it is, gushing.
Well,
that's what I think it is. I should use gush. She's gushing. She's, we got these guys. Oh, she's Trump's a creep. Oh, yeah, Trump. Okay, there's the clip for the beginning of the show.
Trump. Okay. So she had on Professor Jed Sugarman, and this story it's a little hard to follow, which is typical Rachel Maddow. The idea is that there was a deal done, and again, to benefit the Trump empire, in this case, Jared. And they're going to explain how Qatar was roped into this scheme where Jared ultimately would wind up with hundreds of millions of dollars in loans that he needed for some real estate property. But there was another company mentioned in here which really made my ears perk up, and we should see if we can dissect what's going on here.
Well, there are a lot of moving parts on this timeline, and it's true. Qatar keeps popping up at various weird moments along the story. So let's start really briefly with the Steele dossier, which alleged that there was going to be a plan to sell 19% of this giant oil company that Russia owned as a state oil company, and to sell 19% and generate commissions to pay off the Trump people.
Now, with the Trump people, the only time I've heard of this, we actually laughed at it because it was alleged that Carter Page was going to get the commission from this 19% sale of Rosneft. So there's there's our point of reference, is that we know this did come up in the Steele dossier, as in this was what Carter Page was going to get, I think, before he even worked for the Trump for the Trump campaign. But now we find out, according to this professor, that it was intended for the Russians to give this money to everyone, to pay off everybody in the Trump campaign, I suppose, to lower the sanctions.
Oil company, and to sell 19% and generate commissions to pay off the Trump people as a quid pro quo for lifting sanctions. So then jump to after the election, December 2016. First of all, you've got Kushner and Flynn trying to set up this secret line with the Kremlin on December 1st. Then December 7th, this is the key event. Qatar and another company called Glencore from Switzerland, they actually go ahead and buy 19.5% of that Russian company, Rosneft.
Now, I found, this is why I was interested. Glencore, isn't that Mark Rich's old company before he kicked the bucket?
That sounds like it was, yes. That's what I'm thinking, too.
Which is a complete Clinton operation, then.
Yeah, totally Clinton.
So now I'm thinking, hold on.
Any collusion? There seems to be a plan that is connecting the dots, and then 1 month later, we get the Steele dossier that shows that this plan was coming together. It turns out when that purchase was made, we didn't know it was Qatar. It was only revealed later. My speculation is that Qatar was in on this deal to be the intermediary between Russia and Trump. They needed a way to get that money to the Trump world. But then once the dossier gets published in January, Qatar gets cold feet. Okay. Then when they start backing out, there is a Gulf crisis with the Saudi Arabia and with the United Arab Emirates. And the reporting is, allegedly, Kushner tried to escalate that crisis. That's April. Then you have this.
How does he do that?
What?
How does he do? What kind of powers does he have to do that?
He went over,
it's like the Rubicon story.
He went over there and went, I'm Jared Kushner. I'm going to make everybody pay for this.
How come this guy can't draw the conclusion that if Glencore is involved, that this was actually a Clinton operation?
Thank you.
How come he can't do that? How does all of a sudden Trump get associated with Mark Rich's Glencore?
Well, it is very interesting that the FBI released, I haven't read it yet, a whole bunch of papers about Bill Clinton's pardoning of Mark Rich. The minute this news breaks, I just thought that was coincidental. I don't know why all of a sudden the FBI does that. Why all of a sudden do we have this information about Bill Clinton and his pardoning of Mark Rich of Glencore? Could be related. I don't know.
And the reporting is, allegedly, Kushner tried to escalate that crisis. That's April. Then you have this.
Stop. He uses the word allegedly improperly. He says the reporting was alleged. No, the reporting is real.
The reporting was the reporting. Yes, you're right.
I don't know what he's talking about here.
Allegedly.
So he's out of control. It's unhinged.
He is.
When they start backing out, there is a Gulf crisis with the Saudi Arabia and with the United Arab Emirates. And the reporting is, allegedly, Kushner tried to escalate that crisis. That's April. Then you have these Qatari officials trying to get back in the good graces with people like Bannon. And eventually, several months later, finally, there's a $184 million loan that Qatar backed to give to Kushner. So my speculation is that this deal was in place. Qatar plays that intermediary role in December. Then the dossier gets published. They freak out. And then ultimately, when the screws are turned, they then deliver a loan to Kushner.
I mean, I thought I was crazy. Oh, man. That's off the hinges.
That is wild.
And she's just sitting there with her unctuous self.
Yeah, gushing.
Going, oh, yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So it has that one look that's
great reporting as always. Yeah.
Great report.
Sure. But, that's their truth. You can't stand in the middle of it. It's not possible. We've broken truth. That's what's happened here.
Oh.
We've broken it. Broken truth.
Broken truth. Yeah, somebody broke it. I don't think we did.
The apparently the guy who stole the CIA hacking tools.
Oh yeah, the tools.
Actually, it wasn't the NSA's hacking tools?
I don't remember whose tools they were.
Yeah.
I think don't remember.
So
I'll look it up and see if I can figure it out.
Apparently, a former CIA employee was now currently being held in Manhattan jail on unrelated charges. Gee, you know what happened to this guy? So they're accusing him of stealing the hacking tools. And then all of a sudden, he's in jail on charges of possessing, receiving, and transporting child pornography. Yes, he had a server, filled with porn.
Sure. Now, here's the Washington Post headlines: U.S. identifies suspect in major league of CIA hacking tools.
I thought it was only the
CIA hacking tools.
Okay.
They're now in Vault 7 of WikiLeaks.
Yeah. Vault 7. Yes, that's it. I thought that was NSA, but anyway.
Everything I'm looking at the whole. I saw CIA. The NSA is good to go.
No,
their hacking tools are intact.
No, there was a huge story in the New York Times about the NSA's hacking tools being stolen. Okay, well I could be wrong.
They've rejiggered the story, so it's now CIA.
Doesn't matter because the guy is kiddie porn. That's all we need to know. Man, you keep saying the White House is bugged.
Oh yeah.
I got to think you're really right about this. There's this story about actually it was in the New York Magazine. Donald Trump and Sean Hannity like to talk before bedtime, and it's this whole it's a typical New York Magazine, very long story about how Trump. After he's done at 7, he goes up, separate room. Melania's not even near him. She sleeps in a separate bedroom. And he calls Sean Hannity after a show. He gets up in the morning. They know exactly what he's doing, know exactly what he's saying. This is not just some leak. I'm with you now. I'm with you now. There's definitely something bugged.
Oh, the whole place is bugged.
Because this detail is pretty amazing. I'm not saying it's not true.
By more than one agency. That's the joke of it. It's probably 2 or 3 guys.
A whole bunch
probably
of
if they go looking for bugs and they find one, they better keep looking.
This is a row of gray vans in front of the White House. Pay no attention to us. We're just hanging out here.
What's this Wi-Fi FBI surveillance van?
One of those again, yeah. Let's see, I've got, we did him. Oh, yeah. This is back. We've actually, this took place yesterday.
New Hampshire Senator Maggie Hassan says a vote on a measure to reinstate net neutrality rules could come as soon as Wednesday. The regulations that required internet service providers to treat all web traffic equally will end in June after an FCC repeal. Hassan met yesterday with New Hampshire-based organic yogurt maker Stonyfield Farm to hear concerns on how the end of net neutrality could affect small dairy farmers in the region.
If farmers who are operating on pretty small margins now have to pay even more to get the kind of speed on the internet that they need to be competitive, this could really be debilitating to them.
Hassan says she's hearing from thousands of constituents who are in support of restoring net neutrality.
I mean, I thought I heard all the examples. You got me on this one.
Hold on, I said restoring what?
Think of the dairy farmers.
Yeah, think of the dairy farmers. Restoring what? Nothing has changed.
I know.
There was no net neutrality.
I know.
But no, they want to restore it. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm all in on that. Oh, yeah, they should restore it.
What you're referring to is the fact that nothing was ever implemented and everything just hobbled along quite nicely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, nothing was ever established. It was never established.
But I just love the dairy farmers. They're going to get screwed over net neutrality because they can't function fast enough.
I don't know. They can't. Maybe the cow milking machines are all internet based. The remote, done by remote.
I don't know. What are they doing? What do they need? It
doesn't make any sense. It's a stupid story.
Yeah, but it's not just a story. There's a representative in the story. She's bringing it. She's bringing the dairy farmers in. Oh, don't worry, I'm going to save you. We'll get net neutrality on track, and you'll flourish.
Yeah, it's just an anti-Trump story. That's all it is. So I have a couple of odd clips. Let's play. Well, first of all, let's get one news story out of the way, which is the $500 million Michigan State.
I had the same one. Yeah, that's
settlement. Wait a minute. There's 334 women, I believe, involved. So they're all going to get over $1 million, at least. And the story
goes away.
What do you think about this? Well, I'll play the whole story, and then I'm going to still ask this question. What do you think it is about this story that has me perturbed?
Now to that massive settlement, $500 million for hundreds of young women, many of them gymnasts, who say they were targeted by a predator doctor, a man they trusted to take care of them. NBC's Ann Thompson has details on the new payout from Michigan State University.
I had more nights than now.
This is the pain.
And I have experienced flashback nightmares of the abuse.
The fury. That drove Michigan State University to reach a $500 million settlement with 332 women who say they were sexually abused by Dr. Larry Nassar, a former employee. Nassar's victims overwhelmingly young female gymnasts.
Larry Nassar, I hate you.
Like 15-year-old Emma Ann Miller.
I'm just glad that MSU is finally starting to work with us and not against us. For my sister survivors, I'm just hoping that this will bring them some peace.
Other women say they told the university about Nassar as far back as 21 years ago, but nothing was done. In the settlement, the survivors will split $425 million, individual payouts to be determined by a mediator. The other $75 million set aside for victims who have yet to come forward. MSU calling it responsible and equitable, adding they are working every day to prevent sexual misconduct. But Rachel Den Hollander, the first woman to publicly accuse Nassar, in a statement says she's deeply disappointed at the missed opportunity for meaningful reform at the university. Tonight, contested lawsuits remain for the other groups Nassar worked with, USA Gymnastics, the U.S. Olympic Committee, and coaches Bella and Marta Caroli, as does the pain money can't erase. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
I didn't like the $75 million part of the story.
Well, that didn't bother me. But there's two things. Well, first of all, the way this story goes, it's almost as though they're just paying off a bunch of whores, and it's just $1 million. They're getting a lot of money for their sexual work. That's one of the things I think there's an undercurrent.
Well, yeah, there's no other blowback against the school or to any of the people involved.
Which is what one of the girls said, and I think that's very important. But what really kind of perturbs me, just ignoring all the rest of it, is this public institution. They have $500 million to throw away on one of these in a situation like this, and they're always begging for money and asking, we need the alumni to step up. And then this sort of thing happens, and what always bothers me, this happens at the city level. This happens at especially with taxpayer money. This happens when, you have a corrupt police department and some guy, is just a bad actor. And then the city has to pay out $10 million to some victim, and the cop goes away and gets a job someplace else. Why don't they make him pay?
Yeah, it's the same with the rules in Congress. They still never worked that out, did they? Did they ever fix it so that they have to pay themselves?
No, they still, the U.S. taxpayer is still paying when a congressman does some abhorrent thing that needs to be bought off. You have to pay someone off.
Yeah,
we're paying for that. Why is the congressman paying for it? This whole thing just bugs me, because I have this University of California's over here, and they're keep building new buildings and new buildings and new buildings. They keep building and building and building, and then it turns out that Janet Napolitano, as we reported recently, has a $184 million slush fund that can't be accounted for, and there's nothing's come of that.
Yeah, but that's California. That's a whole other country. You live in some weird country.
We might as well live in a banana republic with nothing but corrupt officials.
I'm telling you, man. Well, I'm not going to say it anymore. Send them all here to Austin, so you'll be safe, and I'll have to leave Austin then.
Now, I keep saying to send them to Austin. Now that you mentioned this kind of fleeing from problem areas, I have an interpretation of a story that really didn't get much play in American media. But David Rockefeller's family sold off the entire nearly $1 billion worth of art in their Manhattan house compound. I don't know.
Right, it was just one house, right? It wasn't their entire.
Pretty much one house.
It wasn't their entire collection. It was just one house.
Yeah, well, it was a big collection, though. It was David's collection. It was a monster. But let's play the clip, and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
This, the greatest Matisse to come to market in 50 years, sold for over $80 million. And this Monet from the Impressionists' Water Lily series brought in more than $84 million.
To have on the same night records for two of the geniuses of painting, Matisse and Monet, is something that I never imagined would happen.
Through their fame and fortune, David and Peggy Rockefeller amassed one of the greatest art collections and filled their family homes with rare treasures. The top lot was Picasso's masterpiece Young Girl with a Flower Basket, which hung for decades in the family's New York library. It fetched $115 million. Other highlights included this early portrait of George Washington and furniture and precious porcelain, including an ice cream bowl that belonged to Napoleon. This high-profile sale attracted the biggest collectors and newcomers. It showed the continued strength of the art market, but also the enduring power of the Rockefeller name. Neda Tawfiq, BBC News, New York.
Wow. Okay.
I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing that there's no reason to sell any of these pieces.
Money laundering?
No. They're getting in cash. This is they have different access to information that we don't have.
Yeah.
They see
a banking
economic
collapse
situation where cash is king, and they take it. Art is not, and art is a boom bust business. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. If you have art, I'd sell it now, unless you're waiting for
I was thinking of selling the No Agenda art generator for that very reason. Get some cash.
So unfortunately, you don't own the art generator.
No, of course
not.
But
we have, I'm just seeing this as, and people say, stay out of cash, stay out of cash. Who's telling you that?
Elites?
Yeah.
CNBC?
And I'm seeing the Rockefeller family, this part of the family at least, dumping nearly $1 billion worth of fantastic art, which, if things keep going the way they're going, should be worth twice as much in 5 years, dumping it for cash. I'm just looking at that as kind of a signal to maybe rethink your, and you're reminding me all the time because you keep telling me to sell my properties.
Yeah.
But it may be a time to start thinking about going,
Well, do you think the property is in danger
property, real estate.
Yeah.
Is like a fixed amount of it. And I don't believe it has the same, it's not the same as Bitcoin or some stocks.
Yeah, it's a physical thing.
It's a physical thing. It's like gold. Gold would be another positive thing.
So when you say cash, are they like actual physical cash or just cash in the bank?
That's what I'm thinking.
Wow.
I mean, they may put that into bonds or they may do something else with it. Obviously, they're not just sit on a bunch of cash, but maybe not. But they're definitely getting out of art and going into what looks like cash.
So that's a big signal to the market.
It's a big signal to me. I don't know, but nobody else played this at all. It's
You've got
all the art they sold.
You've got art.
Yeah, I do.
Are you going to sell any of it?
$1 million.
No, of course not. But
I have a couple pieces I'm probably going to sell, and I got some wine that I'm going to sell.
Oh man!
But it's not that much.
I can't believe you're going to sell some wine before I've tasted it.
I got a lot of wine to sell. Yeah.
I love that about you. He collects art, collects wine, wears Crocs. I mean, you're just an amazing man.
Yeah, I got the Croc thing.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And why don't you stall for 1 second while I go get the note from Anonymous, who this should bring me to knighthood as well. Oh, wait. No, I got this first one.
While you're getting oh, you ready?
Yeah, you read this first one. I'll go get the note from the other guy.
All right. The first one we have is Zachary Stanko. Ah, yes.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, no, Zachary Stanko. I need the note. Hang on.
I have my note, too. We both received a note, and we got gifts from Zachary.
Aha.
Yep. He told me what
explains a lot of it.
Yes. Dear Crackpot and Buzzkill. Now, Zachary, by the way, lives in Omaha, Nebraska, sent us $150 for the show. And he said, and I got a nice care package the other day. Crackpot and Buzzkill. Previously, I sent some Russian paraphernalia, including a 1936 Constitution, some Soviet postage stamps, a challenge coin, plus a few other items. I found some more random items I thought would be fun to send to you two. For Adam, and I have received these, an I Love San Antonio pin, which is not something you wear in Austin, but I appreciate it. State of Texas pin, yep. 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games pin. A brief illustrated guide to understanding Islam, which is I will be reading from this. It's a small, very fun book. And a 1996 MTV Video Music Awards swag bag watch, which is great because we never got any of the swag.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you always say, I had the same thing. I'll read my list in a second. But when I was at PC Magazine and these other magazines at Ziphone, they always had these swag bags they gave to people. But if you
work there,
but if you work there, you never get anything.
That's like on the Face Bag MTV alum group. From time to time, they go, "Oh, look, I found all these watches from the Video Music Award. Oh, look, I've got this leather jacket." All that, and these are all interns. Yeah, they're all like jerk offs in the studio, and they've got all the cool stuff.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, anyway, he goes on. For me, he sent me a John F. Kennedy pin, a Hulk noisemaker, which I'll bring up and use in the next show.
Bring to class next time.
It's the cheapest junk you've ever seen. Tenet Healthcare Salvation Army coin. I got a coin, a Desert Storm coin. Teen Vogue Hillary issue.
How is that? How does that look? The Teen Vogue
it's
Hillary
very
issue.
Strange. It's not what you'd expect.
Oh, okay.
Very strange.
Hey, you got more gifts than I did. You got a lot more gifts.
I got better gifts, I think. I got a 64 UC Berkeley pamphlet, Populism, Nostalgic or Progressive. This is more than a pamphlet. This is a small publication. I have to read this. It'll be good for the book. Now, the rest of the stuff is junk. This is a condom.
Well, he does mention he's got a shipping envelope for you to send the previously sent Baghdad Airport Challenge coin to me.
Yeah. Yeah. He says that. I don't remember this coin.
Okay.
But I have all these coins, so I'll look and if I see a Baghdad Challenge coin, I'll send it to you.
Yes. They're going to be worth cash one day.
So I think what we should do, because of all these little things, these took a lot of work to package this. I was confused that he'd sent me your stuff. I'm glad you got a note. We up him to associate executive producer for this show.
Oh, okay. Good. We'll put him right there. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Zachary, and thank you for the check. This is fantastic. We eat again with my pin on.
Sean Coffey in Annandale, Northwest Australia, $120.12.
He's got a birthday shout out to his beautiful blonde princess, Cheryl.
Yeah, is it listed?
Yeah, it's on the list. Oh, yeah.
Kyle Olin Mon in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 118.20. Apurva Gokal, maybe, in Fresno, $101. Sir Mark Magpio, $100 even. He needs an F cancer. We can do that at the end. Lost a friend. We don't know either.
And by the way, for people wondering what a challenge coin is.
So why don't you explain it?
Yeah, this really started in the military, where your unit would have a coin, and it's just and the prettier the coin looks, the better. And people would swap these out amongst themselves. But the original mission, the original intent was after you were in your unit and you went away, you would keep this challenge coin. And if you ever wound up in a bar with someone else from the unit or from the club or the group, they could challenge you, and you have to show your challenge coin. Whoever does not have the challenge coin has to buy the drinks. That is the way I understand the original challenge coin. And
I think that is the way it's mostly purposed.
And we've had many of them. Just
we have
being no agenda challenge.
We didn't sell them, but we had a bunch of people make them for us. Eric the Shield did two of them.
We had crazy coins. I have some of them. I don't even think I have all of the ones that were out there.
Yeah,
we had the geocache coin. We had all kinds of stuff.
And then a bunch of people sent us CIA coins. Yeah. I don't know if I have an NSA coin.
I have the CIA piggy bank too. Now that was a gift.
Yeah, that I didn't get one of those. But yeah, that's what a challenge coin is, and they're very collectible, kind of. I don't know if there's a market.
They're worth millions in cash one day.
Yeah, sure. Sir Mad Hatter, $100. The donation, all the work you do. Okay.
Wait, where are you? Whoa! You missed a whole bunch.
No, I didn't. I was at Sir Magpio, $100, and then I went to Sir Mad Hatter. How did I miss anybody?
I thought you missed Apurval Gokal in Fresno.
No, I said him.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because I pronounce his last name two different ways. Gokal.
You're right. All right. B12.
Sir Mad Hatter, see if there's anything in there. He's got, thank you for your courage, he says. Gerald Preston, boob, 8008. There was a boob there was actually a nice boob.
In the newsletter?
In the newsletter, and one guy, maybe nobody caught it. Baron Craig Kuttner in Norwalk, Connecticut, 6969.
Sir Mad Hatter said one important task, a belated happy Mother's Day to Dame Jamie, my wonderful wife, and he needs jobs karma.
Okay, put that at the end.
Yep, got it.
Good catch. Baron Craig Kuttner in Norwalk, Connecticut, 6969. Nicholas Wallace and Mom, don't know which. Probably Mom, it could be Mommy, 6450. Paul Love in Mechanicsville, Virginia. Double nickels on the dime, 5510.
That's the Minutemen donation.
The Minutemen donation, right. Sir Robert Pinder, 5510. Sir Luke Baron of London, 53. Sir D.H. Slammer, belated Mother Day donation. No Dame Bang Bang, we don't hate you, from Sir Slammer. Sir Andrew, Lady Simona, and Master Emmett. There must be some fight going on in the family.
Bill Johnson, also 5130. Great. Happy Mother's Day to my mom, Betty Johnson. Also my wife, Jennifer. You never fully appreciate parents until you become one. Dogs are much easier.
Yeah, just go with the dogs.
Go with the dog. A lot easier.
Kayla Wood in Manchester, New Hampshire, 5130, and she has something like that. When I first donated, Adam made a comment about how awesome the nuclear family is, a.k.a. we listen to No Agenda, except my mom. Tried to hit her in the mouth, and today she'll finally have to give in with this donation. I love my millennials. Stay woke and continue jobs karma for us both as she graduates with her master's next week.
Okay, all right. Go, Mom.
Doomed. Keith Yarborough in Austin, Texas, down the street from you, and $50, and these are all $50 donors, name and location if available. Sir Eric V.M., Baronet of the Valley in Van Nuys, Trevor Hoagland in Portland, Oregon, Eric Mackey in Lawrenceville, Georgia, John Holler in Missoula, Montana, Matthew Hardy in Gold Coast, Queensland, Chris Slowinski, Sir Chris Slowinski to you, Sherwood Park, Alberta, Micah Miller in Bethel, Pennsylvania, John Camp in Antlers, Oklahoma, Joel DeRuin, who I think it's a sir, in Savannah, Georgia, Dowlett Zenguzin in Bellevue, Washington, Sir Jerry Wingenroth in Saugus, California. That concludes our list of mentionable producers for show 1034. I want to thank each and every one of them, and remember, we got a show coming up on Sunday. Quickly,
Yes, and we also want to thank everybody under $50 for anonymity reasons, or they may be on one of our many programs. Also mentioned this most recent newsletter. I believe for the upcoming month, we'll be promoting our subscriptions, which are a great way to support the show. Again, it's a value for value proposition. You just send us whatever you think the show was worth. Did you have a good time? If not, send nothing. It's very simple. And remember us for our Sunday show.
Dvorak.org/NA. Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Well, it's going to be real short, sweet, and simple today. Sean Coffey, as I mentioned earlier, says happy birthday to his beautiful blonde princess, Cheryl Eastwood, and we say the same from your pals here at the best podcast in the universe. And we have, let's see, we have 2 knightings, so this is good. If you can put down the recorder and just get it. grab your blade, that'd be. Thank you. All right, up on stage, we'd like Henry Cunningham and Anonymous. Both of you have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. That brings you to the level of knighthood. You get your ring, you get your status, and you get your chair right here at the round table of the Knights and Dames. And therefore, I'm very proud to pronunciate the Sir Henry Cunningham and Sir 1034. Gentlemen, for you, we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys, and Chardonnay. We've got Pog and Poi, Dame Elise, Limoncello, and Salmon, Rabbit Meat and Goat Milk, Dr. Pepper and a Quick Handy, Boobs and Stinky Tofu, Beer and Blunts, Cowgirls and Coffin Varnish, Geishas and Sake, Vodka and Vanilla, Bong Hits and Bourbon, Sparkling Cider and Escorts, Ginger Ale and Gerbils, and Mutton and Mead. You'll find it all at the round table of the No Agenda Knights and Dames. To receive your ring, go to noagendanation.com/rings and tell Eric to show what size you want. And please tweet out a picture. We love it. It looks fantastic and gives us something to retweet.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
And I apologize to Sir Nick of the Great Lakes. I completely forgot to mention him on the last show. He had a title change. He is upgraded to Baronet, and we congratulate him for that change in his peerage. If you want to check out all the peerage of the Knights and Dames, go to itm.im/peerage. And since we don't do much advertising, it's always fun to see what's going on with the world.
We don't do any advertising.
What did I say?
Much.
Oh, none. I'm sorry. We advertise for ourselves. The big upfronts are coming for the television networks. And the upfront is where they try to do deals with big advertisers, get them, give them cut rate deals. Hey, support the show, so they can actually know if there's enough money to run the show. And apparently, all of the big networks are chopping their commercial time per hour, some up to 50%, in order to keep, quote, millennials watching, because the geniuses at NBC and Fox and ABC and CBS have decided that the reason why millennials are not watching is because they're watching everything on the streaming services and don't mind waiting a week until it pops up on Hulu or on Amazon or on Netflix. And I think this is very significant development. It's not like they're going to up their prices by 50%, I presume.
I don't know. I find the whole thing baffling.
Baffling?
Yeah.
Why baffling?
Oh, right from the get-go, why the millennials don't watch TV?
Exactly. This has not. They should be doubling down. The only people who are watching TV are well over 50. I think that's. Except for the dwindling 1824 demo, but it's gone. You've lost it. And it's interesting.
Well, these geniuses think they can do it. They think they can recapture it. I think they've a lot of, like we said on the show, the reason old people watch network news is because network news has ads for old people.
Yeah, it's compelling.
So they've catered to old people because they want to sell all these drugs, and because they're charging top dollar for these ads, and they probably figure they can turn on a switch and all of it, make all the millennials suddenly want to watch the news. But I think they've let them slide for so long. I think you might be right. They've lost them. Maybe it's going to take a long. There's an old rule of marketing. It's easier to keep a customer than to regain a lost customer
or get a new one.
Well, no, getting a new one is easier.
Oh,
it's easier to get a new customer or regain it or to maintain a customer than regaining a lost customer. You lose a customer, it's harder to get them back than anything else. And they've lost this whole group.
And the thing is, it's a technological loss. I mean, when will they not see this? Or when will they see this? It's purely the technology that has overruled them. I mean, it's the same shows.
Yeah, well, they don't get that either. But there seems to be some messaging going on to this crowd. And I want to play this clip because I've been carrying it for a while. This is the anti-college message that all of a sudden is showing up on NBC, and this is an example.
High school junior Rayleigh Nicholson sounds like a natural for college. A's in honors classes, high marks on college boards. But the 17-year-old says she's better suited for something else. A 2-year technical program to become a diesel mechanic.
People did try to push me towards a 4-year school.
And you said?
Not for me.
Raylie's passion is fixing old cars.
I liked puzzles. I liked figuring out where pieces fit, and I liked taking things apart and figuring out how they worked.
While experts are now advising some students to think hard if a 4-year degree is right for them. Why? 40% of those who enroll fail to graduate in 6 years. 30% end up in jobs that don't require a bachelor's. And 28% with a 2-year degree earn more than the average college graduate in jobs like computer programming and airplane mechanics.
These are good jobs. About half of our labor market is jobs like this, mid-skilled jobs, and many of them pay quite well.
Disappointed at first, but Rayleigh's mother says she's not anymore.
I'd rather have her do something that she enjoys, that she won't get tired of, and be happy with her life.
Rayleigh Nicholson has a large degree of confidence.
I don't want to go sit in a classroom for another 4 years. I want to be out working.
She's on the right track. Rahima Ellis, NBC News, Charleroi, Pennsylvania.
On that very peculiar report.
Well, just as a follow-up regarding the jobs, I wanted to get crab cakes the other day. And there were no crab cakes. I'm like, Yo, Broseph, what's up with your crab cakes? He says, we won't have any until the end of next month at the earliest. I'm like, what? Because, they make them at the supermarket. And I've had them before. They're good. So why not? We don't have a lot of crab, really. And we also don't have certain nuts and certain fruits and berries. I'm like, what's going on? This is Whole Foods, I will point out. So what's going on? Well, because of actually the way it came out was, because of Trump, the H-2B visas are being either slowed down or held up, and they do not have enough workers to get these particular jobs done that somehow deliver crab cakes and nuts and berries. And I think there's even some striking going on. There's some unionized stuff. And anyway, it's the bottom, and we have to look into this. We need to know more. But the bottom line is produce is not showing up because of immigration policy. And I guess how jobs are distributed or what jobs people want to do. Have you heard any of this?
No, we got plenty of fruit and vegetables here.
Well, you guys live there. That's where it all is.
Well, and you want me to move out?
No, send me some nuts. Katie Couric has a new show on NBC.
Really? She's upgraded her podcast.
Well, she had to. I mean, they've lost their superstars. They lost Matt. They got to be careful what's going on there at NBC. They need some names. They need some faces. Need some star power, celebrities. And she's got this thing called, what is the name? Is it America Inside Out? I think is the name of the show. It's a long form. And she went to see what was going on with this concept of white privilege in colleges.
An awful lot has changed since I graduated from college almost 40 years ago. There's a new vocabulary that wasn't around when I was younger. Safe space, microaggression, trigger warning, no platforming, white privilege. To better understand what that means, I came to Columbia to participate in something called a privilege walk.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a series of statements, and the statements will ask you to either move forward or move backward if something applies to you.
I should state that they're all standing side by side on a white line in an auditorium, and they have to close their eyes while they do this. And then any statement they agree with, they either walk forward one step if they agree, or if it's not them or they don't agree, step back.
Please take one step forward if your parents told you you could be anything you wanted to be. Please take one step back if your ancestors were forced to come to the United States. You routinely see members of your religion, one of your parents was unemployed or laid off, match, you have multiple parents available. Think twice about calling the police when trouble happens. And then I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. You can look around the room now.
And Katie Couric is up front, right up front. People are like 10 paces behind her.
And I want you to think about how you're feeling right now.
Guilty.
Guilty.
And lucky.
Guilty. And lucky. It was really, and I love that montage of the questions. They just kind of mix it all together. Did your ancestors, were they brought here involuntarily? Yeah. So that's it. There you go. Your white privilege at work.
Yeah, there it is. In a nutshell.
Feel guilty.
Katie Couric's the worst. Fire her immediately.
Now, people love Katie Couric. Yeah. Let's see. Pick this up on Jeopardy.
Before and after 2000. Russian president, who's an Irving Berlin song that says, "Come, let's mix where Rockefellers walk with sticks." Jake?
Who is Vladimir Putin on the Ritz?
That's right.
If you're blue and you don't know where there's fake news, why don't you get your Gitmo fix? Putin on the Ritz.
I love how they steal our material.
Dressed up like $1 million trooper. Trying not to look like Anderson Cooper. Super Pooper. Come, let's mix where John Podesta walks with kids. Oh, I mean pizzas in his mitts. Putin on the Ritz.
Outstanding catch. Here's a little thing, catch us up with something. A pet peeve of mine emerges from this clip. Pedestrian deaths.
I wonder what it has. If it has anything to do with OTG.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety released a new report this week showing an alarming rise in pedestrian deaths. Nearly 6,000 people were hit and killed by vehicles in 2016. That's a 46% jump since 2009 and the highest number since 1990. Chris Van Cleve looked into this.
In March, a woman in Tempe, Arizona was killed by a self-driving Uber while crossing the street. The SUV's sensors detected her but failed to react in time. A new IIHS report finds it's part of a larger trend. Pedestrian deaths jumped 46% since 2009. 46% is huge.
It is a huge number.
David Harkey, the president of the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, says about 75% of the deaths happened at night.
The increases that we're seeing on our busiest streets in our urban and suburban areas, we think part of that is because we haven't properly designed our roadways.
Roadways, Harkey says, often lack enough equipment to alert drivers of pedestrians and enough safe, convenient places to cross.
We need to provide more locations for them to cross.
To better protect pedestrians, car companies are adding innovative technology.
This system will activate between about 15 and 30 miles per hour.
Martin Hayes is the chief engineer for the Buick Regal. His team has developed this active hood safety feature.
It can sense and respond in about 20 milliseconds, deploy these hinges, raise the whole hood up in this area about 4 inches. We're raising the impact zone closer, so there's less potential speed that your head would be when you make contact with the hood.
IIHS recommends improving headlight performance to better light up the road and expanding automatic braking.
I see lots of dead children in our future.
Here's what it gets me. There's a couple of things here. Besides the fact they threw in this gratuitous slam against Uber, which had nothing to do with the story, is when I was a kid, and they make this comment, 75% of these accidents happen at night. I don't know about you, but driving around, especially in like a city area, 75% of it happens at night because people are wearing all black outfits. They're just wearing all black, head to toe, black. You can't see these people. Now, when I was a kid, there used to be all these public service announcements. Wear white at night. Oh. Wear white at night. Nobody wears white. They all wear black. And so you can't see them. No wonder there's all these accidents. I mean, give me a break. You can't see a person wearing all black on a very dimly lit street at night.
My problem is they want to solve part of this, at least with technology. And I've been against this ever since I saw the Cirrus airplane, which has a ballistic parachute, because it makes makes people complacent. It's just like the Tesla. It makes you complacent. The technology will take care of it. Yeah, don't worry. If I run out of gas, I can just always pull the chute. It's fine. So now we're going to be driving. My car is going to keep everybody safe. But Professor Ted knows better. This is not how it will end.
Well, you have your complaint. I have mine. Combined, they're one good complaint.
So we had a gripe about Uber. There's stuff going on with Tesla.
The big news came late Friday when Bloomberg confirmed that Doug Field, who is one of just 4 senior executive officers named in Tesla's proxy, is on some kind of leave of absence. And we're not quite sure for how long he will be on leave. But that's a really big deal. Doug has been in charge of manufacturing and has really just been a key player at Tesla for all of these years. Today, we got a memo from Elon Musk that he's announcing some kind of reorganization of the company. And this was something that he alluded to on the last earnings call, but there aren't any details yet as to what that really means. And I think that, if you look at Tesla over the past year and a half, there have just been a string of departures that continue. And, typically when someone leaves, they announce their replacement, but that hasn't happened recently. So we have Doug Field on leave. Matthew Schwal, who was a key person on the Autopilot team, is now at Waymo. And then this reorg has everyone asking, what are the changes next? One thing that's very difficult about Tesla is that a lot of people don't really know who the executives are. There's no listing on the website of who the named executives are, and there's not a lot of transparency into what positions people are filling.
Oh, Elon!
Yeah. Meltdown, I think.
Well, I noticed that Waymo is poaching a lot of the Tesla folks.
Yeah, but they're going at a time when I don't think it's very handy for the organization, for people like that to be leaving.
Yeah, we'll see. Musk does a pretty good job of keeping things under control. The royal wedding is this Saturday.
I'll be watching.
Oh, sure you will.
Yeah.
I have one clip because I thought this was kind of funny. And it's about the half brother and the poison pen letter he wrote.
Oh yeah, he was telling the prince, "Don't do it.
Don't marry this woman.
She's no good."
But let's play this clip.
Away, and tonight, who will walk Meghan Markle down the aisle? Will it be her mother? Will it be someone else? As we now learn, her father has undergone a heart procedure. Here's ABC's James Longman from London again tonight.
Tonight, Meghan Markle's mother arriving in London, getting ready for the big day. Just as news breaks of her ex-husband's health, Mr. Markle telling TMZ he's now had 3 stents inserted in his blood vessels following a heart attack last week. The website saying he's alert and coherent, but it's still unclear if he'll make it to the wedding.
Everything about him being under an incredible amount of stress is true.
Markle telling TMZ he believes his heart attack was brought on by an open letter Meghan's half-brother penned to Prince Harry, urging him to call off the wedding, calling Meghan shallow and conceited. Just one of the attacks launched by her half-siblings. All of it painful for Meghan and Harry, but royal experts say the Queen is likely taking it all in stride.
The Queen has more experience than anyone in the world of negative media. This is not something that's going to ruffle her feathers.
The palace now revealing new details about the wedding. Prince George and Princess Charlotte, who stole the show the day they visited their new baby brother, will serve as page boy and bridesmaid, reprising their roles expertly performed at their Aunt Pippa's wedding. It's unclear why Meghan's father is still not speaking through official channels. A lot of uncertainty with just days to go. David?
James, our thanks to you again tonight. Friday night we'll be anchoring from London, and Robin Roberts and I, first thing in the morning, Saturday morning, 5 a.m. Set your DVRs or just get up and join us. Coffee.
Oh, yeah, plug it.
I fail to understand how in this age of empowerment for women, that this is still something where people get all jitty with it, especially women.
By the way, I was stunned. That he would call her shallow and conceited, and she's an actress. Why would an actress ever be that way?
I will tell you, when someone warns you not to marry someone who's an actress, you should listen to them. But seriously,
let me read a paragraph from the. I have the letter in front of me. It's pretty funny. This guy. Now he denounces the letter. This half brother.
Oh, really? No.
Says my father will never recover financially. He just hates his sister because she's somewhat successful in a family of apparently trailer trash. It seems financially from paying Meghan's way, nor emotionally from disavowing him. Meg is showing her true colors. It is very apparent that and this is the catty part, it is very apparent from her tiny bit of Hollywood fame has gone to her head, changing her into a jaded, shallow, conceited woman that will make a joke of you in the royal family heritage.
So, again, that everyone's going all nutty over this. And by the way, the royal wedding is the British royal wedding. I'm sure there are other royal weddings, but okay.
Good point.
But in this age of empowerment, I mean, we all know the life she's going to live, the life of a princess, the life of just sit at home, eat bonbons and shut up and dress up pretty. Where's the empowerment? And why are we all giddy over this? It flies in the face of everything women have been fighting for.
It flies in the face of Americanism. We've always just hated the royals, and we don't. We love the royals, but we technically should be hating them because they're the ones who were like we had to rebel against to get our own thing going on.
Yeah, we kicked their ass.
Yeah, well,
and now we're going woo.
Till they came back in 1812 and burnt down the White House, but that was Canada too.
If 5 years ago I had come to you, I'd gone on CNN and started talking about Bohemian Grove and secret societies, what do you think would happen?
I don't know.
Do you think I would get kicked off the air? Conspiracy theorist?
If you were a conspiracy theorist, well, you got kicked off the air for talking about the death of Michael Jackson.
Right. But how about specifically about Bohemian Grove?
5 years ago, no. 10 years ago, maybe. 5 years ago, not so much.
What if as an anchor from CNN was talking about? What if an anchor from CNN wrote a book about it?
About what?
Bohemian Grove? Jake Tapper wrote a book called The Hellfire Club. It's fictional, but it seems like it's based on some beliefs of Jake's.
Now, you know a lot about what's going on in Washington. Are there, you think, secret societies in Washington? I'm not talking about, from college days or anything along those lines.
I don't know of any. I know the ones that you've heard of. The Gridiron is not a secret society. The Alfalfa Club is not a secret society. But there's Bohemian Grove. There's Bilderberg. There are those. But what I know of wealthy men, I can't imagine that there are not secret societies. The Hellfire Club, in the book and in real life, was originally in the 1700s in England. It was a very real secret society in which they engaged in the most debaucherous acts. People in the royal family and politicians and business people would go to this estate about an hour outside of London and engage in mock Satanistic rituals and orgies. And they would also, create these alliances where they all had dirt on each other because they were all part of the secret society, while they also forged these friendships. And when I heard that Benjamin Franklin had actually attended one of these Hellfire Club orgies, I thought to myself, this is the genesis of the book, well, what if Ben Franklin then took that back with him to the United States, knowing that he had something of a libidinous attitude towards life, and also that maybe he saw some functionality to such an organization. And then what if that extended and lasted longer than just the 1700s, but actually was present in the 20th century? So that's how that started. There have to be these clubs. There have to be. How could there not be? What we know, every time I pick up a newspaper, there is some rich man being brought down for some horrific behavior. Why would we not think that the really well-connected and the really wealthy are not doing this, but, in private places where they can't get caught?
Jake Tapper, backup co-host.
I would wonder where, for one thing, there was a Hellfire Club in New York, which was a crime bar in the 80s that you could go to, that if you knew about it, there was no way of, somebody had to give you very detailed instructions. And it was an S&M place. And there was a Plato's Retreat in New York City.
Wasn't that the necrophiliac place?
No, the Necrophiliac Club, which was a club, and I think Tennessee Williams was a progenitor of that thing. It was based on it was in the back of a mortuary. The Plato's Retreat was this orgy. It was a 24, and Buck Henry wrote a long article about it. I think in Playboy he visited that. And there's these other events, but these are all sex clubs, and many of them kind of disappeared after the AIDS crisis showed up, and then all of a sudden these sex clubs all disappeared, along with the bathhouses, power station in San Francisco. There's a whole slew of these. If you want to,
you know a lot about them.
I know too much, it seems, But they've all, Tapper's either plugged into this. They wouldn't use the Hellfire Club. This is not the same as a bunch of guys plotting something or other. I don't associate the Bilderbergers with a drinking club. Actually, they are a drinking club.
They are a drinking club.
He's not touching maybe there is something. The way he claims there's got to be these secret clubs. I don't think so.
You don't think there's secret clubs?
I think there's a lot of clubs, and I think some of them are kind of under the radar, but I don't think any of them are like totally secret like it used to be with the Klan.
Well, Skull and Bones is.
It's not secret. We know about it.
Oh, we don't know exactly what they do in their little secret meetings.
We heard what they do, and it's kind of
creepy,
kind of gay,
kind of creepy and gay. Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with it.
No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it involves a lot of masturbation in public. Supposedly.
Nice.
But we know a bunch of, I don't know of anything that's so secret. I mean, show me somebody that's in one of these things. This is bull crap.
Okay.
This is my opinion.
Okay.
I just don't see any evidence of it. There are places that you have, not a secret club, but you have like some group like that character from India that took over that southern Oregon area, Rajneesh, whatever his name was, and he had all these Rolls Royces, and they just, they took over a town. People can do that.
Right.
Kern County's got all kinds of interesting, weird corruption that's based on a clique. And there's a book that was written by one of our local guys, Tom Bates, and some other left-wingers. I think it was written in the 60s, very impossible to get a hold of, called The Wealth of Cities. The Wealth of Cities, kind of a joke on the other book, The Wealth of Nations. The Wealth of Cities shows how a bunch of left wingers, and I've seen this in play. If you get enough people together, you can just go into a small area, start running for office, take over the town, bring your buddies in, and start stealing the money. Get more government grants and just steal the money. And that's what this book was all about. It was how to do it. And I think that's gone on in a number of places. And California is filled with little towns that have stolen the money. They put people in extremely overpaid jobs. Vallejo is a good example when it went broke and they saw what they were paying everybody. It was outrageous.
Corrupt, yeah. Well, I think the sex thing is that they get everybody into the same weird sex stuff, and then you all kind of protect each other. That seems to be a common denominator. Yeah. Speaking of books,
it's the pedophile argument too.
Yes. Tom Wolfe passed away?
Yes.
Man, when have we had a writer since like Tom Wolfe?
I get the biggest kick out of Tom. If I ran into him a couple of times,
now just for people who don't know, he wrote Bonfire of the Vanities, The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test.
He wrote a lot of very important books.
Yeah.
But I remember when Bonfire of the Vanities came out, and this was a big controversy.
Yeah, I remember it too.
Some editor at his publishing company said, the guy can't write. And I had to rewrite everything. It was terrible until I got a hold of it. I remember this very distinctly. And then somebody got into it was an online thing, early online, and it was in the 80s, I think. And some said, I looked at he wrote the whole book in the New Yorker magazine, chapter by chapter. And if you compare the magazine to the book, the edits aren't that profound. And then now he's being called one of the most creative writers ever. And
John, when we're dead and gone, we'll be called the geniuses.
Yeah, the podcasting
way ahead of their time.
The Milton Berles of podcasting.
There you go. There is a serious threat, though, for our dude's named Ben. And I wanted to just discuss this briefly. I have a memo here, importance high. It is to all IT associates in this particular organization. And I find this somewhat concerning, and I think any organization that does this needs to think twice. As part of tasks to improve our security, we have selected a new cloud-based antivirus tool called Falcon from CrowdStrike Security. You remember those guys? This is a next generation antivirus solution that uses behavioral analytics and machine learning to block malware attacks. The ops team will be starting the development of Falcon this week, with the UK and South Africa already underway. We will be using our SCCM environment to roll out the CrowdStrike sensor, which is a small, lightweight agent that has no client interface. The management and configuration of the sensor is done via the cloud management portal by the ops team. I do not foresee any major performance degradation issues with this deployment. However, if you do suspect Falcon is impacting a computer, please raise an incident via the Get Help page.
How about not using it at all? Huh?
Yeah, well, not only, first of all, centralizing your entire malware protection seems like a bad idea. But these guys,
like a very bad idea.
But they're also deploying it with something that is effectively malware. And what are the dudes named Ben going to do? They just sit back while everything's now deployed by CrowdStrike? I don't see
it. This is a disaster waiting to happen.
I agree with you. This is a big, big mistake. Especially these guys. With their pew-pew threat map.
Pew-pew
What kind of bull crap are they spewing all over everybody? And what is up, man? People hate Bezos.
Senator Bernie Sanders, though, he's going after Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Watch.
According to Time magazine, from January 1st through May 1st of this year, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, saw his wealth increase by $275 million every single day, for a total increase in wealth of $33 billion in a 4-month period. Meanwhile, thousands of Amazon employees are forced to rely on food stamps, Medicaid, and public housing because their wages are just too low.
Yeah, America, Bernie. But everyone hates Bezos now. Have you been following the Seattle homeless tax?
No.
Oh. So the Amazon and Starbucks are mad, of course, because now the city is saying, you have to pay a tax per employee, which I think turns out to be around $500 or $600 per employee per year, so that they can generate $86 million for social programs, which originally was 75, but I guess they raised it up a little bit. Which, and of course, Amazon and Starbucks are mad. But it's
you don't think Amazon saw this coming when they decided to look for their second new location?
Totally.
They're going to bail out.
They're
on
getting
Washington
out.
State.
Absolutely,
you can count on it.
Yeah, and they're going to come to Austin.
No,
we're in the top three. We're in the top three.
You can be in the top one, and you're not going to Austin.
Why? Why do you say this?
One is troublemakers. the same kind of jerk-offs that are in Seattle that'll cause trouble for the company. They don't want anything to do with them. They're not hard workers. They're all a bunch of like tech types. They want to go into some place where they can get a lot of hard workers that'll work cheap because the cost of living isn't what it is in Austin and Seattle and San Francisco and Los Angeles. So the likelihood of being Austin is nil.
No, it's not. I might prefer them not to come. I don't know.
Well, you're going to get your wish.
Good.
But talking about, he's getting bad PR. I have an example of bad PR. He can hire people to turn this around, but apparently he doesn't care because
he owns the Washington Post. Why should he care? He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he can write his own good publicity in the Washington Post. But here's a thing. Tell me how this is not screwed up. This is a bad report. I mean, in terms of publicity. Play the Gap China T-shirt.
San Francisco-based Gap is apologizing over a shirt that featured what China calls an incomplete map of its country. The People's Daily in China posted this photo of the shirt. You'll notice the map of China doesn't include Taiwan, which is off the eastern coast. Mainland China claims the island as part of its territory, but Taiwan, of course, does not see itself that way. Gap issued a statement. This batch of products have been pulled off shelves in the Chinese market and destroyed. We are now conducting an internal inspection within the group to correct this mistake as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, kowtowing to China over this Taiwan thing is they could have reprinted the things. But you don't take the shirts off the market and destroy them. You take them off the market and give them to the homeless.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. What was the other thing we had that they destroyed them, didn't give them to the homeless? Oh, there was also a T-shirt thing, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but it just doesn't make sense to me that you take it off the market. Because one thing, then it must be destroyed because they do not include Taiwan. Well, then would you bitch if you gave them to the homeless and say, well, the homeless are getting T-shirts that don't include Taiwan? They're not going to complain. They can't say anything. So it's like it sounds good for Gap.
Yeah, I think this was the story. T-shirt. Wasn't this where they were going to burn them for energy? They were going to burn them
for energy.
Yeah. Was it the same Gap story? I wonder.
I don't think it was, but whatever it is, you don't destroy quality. You don't destroy a good product that can be used by somebody in this environment where you have, especially a San Francisco-based company that is crawling with homeless. If nothing else, they can poop in them.
Yeah. The situation in San Francisco it's almost funny to watch now. And I love seeing all of the California law peoples. They're concerned about making sure DACA gets taken care of, not about their own homeless.
Yeah, exactly.
I have 3 clips left, and I do want to play them. The first is in Ohio, in an interestingly named county, Licking County. And they have, like most of the world now, but certainly Ohio, have a huge opioid abuse problem. And so now there's billboards throughout the entire county, and the county is giving away naloxone, the anti-overdose drug.
The Licking County Health Department started putting up these billboards around the county. They say the heroin epidemic here has gotten to the point where everyone needs to get involved. Not just people with friends and family who are struggling with addiction.
Unfortunately, you can't ignore it.
Carrie Dyer knows what it's like to have a family member struggle with heroin addiction.
Most people don't know where to go or what to do. They don't know what the resources are.
She says there's still a stigma about heroin addiction.
Watch out for needles, watch out for needles.
But she's hoping billboards like this will start to change that.
In the kit, as I said, there are 2 doses of naloxone.
Mary Beth Hagstead trains people how to use naloxone at the Licking County Health Department.
Some of our own staff have pulled into a strip mall and seen somebody at the, kind of slumped over a wheel and knew that they were in trouble.
She says the billboards are a way to get more people to help out.
Time is everything, and so if people actually have a kit, they can quickly get this nasal spray naloxone into someone until the medics arrive. So that can save a life right there.
And saving that person's life could be what they need to get clean for good. Right now, the Licking County Health Department is giving away free naloxone kits. They also have free training so people know how to use it.
It's so typical of us here in America. It's like, just put a Band-Aid on it. Just shoot him in the nose. That's all good. Give him the nasal spray. Let's not figure out why this is actually happening.
Yeah, this is a pet peeve of yours, and I think it's a good pet peeve. Yeah. Why? No, don't fix the problem. Just patch it.
Yeah, patch it with some nasal spray. There is
it's like the potholes. Instead of you start filling the pothole up as a patch, it just becomes a pothole again.
It does. Another pothole. Came across a good clip about the deals that Iran has with Western politicians and countries, and somewhere there was a number of reports that if they didn't like how the new negotiations were going with Trump, apparently Iran has threatened to out individuals who wanted the deal to happen and what kind of kickbacks they got, which would be fantastic to see. But in the meantime,
I would like to see that. I'm wondering whether this report is true, but I hope it is.
But the part that I think is true is all the deals that were done as a part of the Iran deal, which the previous administration did.
Britain, France and Germany lobbied furiously to try and stop President Trump ditching the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, and now they're trying to keep it alive. Of course, they dress it up as high principle, but the truth is that for them, it's about more money for their big business cronies. Yes, the swamp is truly global. Britain has pushed numerous business interests in Iran since the Obama deal lifted sanctions, including their telecoms company Vodafone partnering with Iranian internet firm Hiweb to help modernize its network. And in 2017, British officials agreed to a $720 million deal to create a solar energy park in Iran with investors from Asia, Europe and the Middle East. Germany is even more swampy. After sanctions were lifted, car maker Volkswagen reached an agreement with Iran's Mahmut Khodro to sell 2 of their models there. And German manufacturing giant Siemens signed a contract worth at least 1.5 billion euros to build rail coaches and upgrade train tracks in Iran. But here's the swampiest German, and this is truly shocking. One of the biggest impacts of new sanctions would be on energy, and Russia in particular. Giant Russian state oil and gas companies Rosneft and Gazprom both have interests in Iran. Guess who is now head of the executive board at Rosneft and also chairman of the board of directors at Nord Stream 2, a subsidiary of Gazprom? Gerhard Schröder, Angela Merkel's predecessor as Chancellor of Germany. The former German leader is on the board of Russia's biggest energy companies. Since Russia's got practically no economy apart from energy, that's basically like being on the board of Russia. And the elites accuse Donald Trump of collusion. But perhaps the country deepest in the Iran swamp is France. In December 2016, French airplane manufacturer Airbus signed a deal with Iran Air to sell it 100 planes for around $19 billion. Another French aircraft maker, ATR, struck a $536 million deal with Iran Air for 20 planes. French oil giant Total SA signed a 20-year, $5 billion contract with Iran and a Chinese oil company to develop an Iranian natural gas field. And French car maker Peugeot got a deal to open an Iranian plant producing 200,000 vehicles a year. It turns out that 1/5 of Peugeot's entire global market is in Iran. And you'll also be interested to discover that the former Rothschild banker who once worked on a bailout of Peugeot is none other than Emmanuel Macron, now president of France. I think we'd all take these globalist elite politicians a bit more seriously when they condemn Donald Trump for pulling out of the nuclear deal if they themselves weren't up to their necks in their own swamp deals with Iran.
That's a nice little overview.
Wow, I'm going to give you a clip of the day for that. Good information.
I was actually kind of blown away when I saw it. I'm like, holy crap.
Clip of the
Thank you. And we know about, Schroeder, but Macron with Peugeot, and I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It really, and
then they bitch about Trump, owning a few hotels.
Well, according to the Bitcoin Iran theory, no reason to be worried, as Bitcoin is down again. We're at 8,200. So it doesn't seem like there's much worry in the market. But I do keep receiving reports that all of Europe is now dealing with Iran in euros, not the dollar. And it's and there's got to be some energy stuff in there, which is not what we like.
So it's not going to go over. I don't know why people can't figure this out.
Well, what's going to be
done?
It's always unfortunate. If you're going to pay in euros, please don't take any hot tubs. It's just not healthy for you. Don't hop in there.
No.
And then I have a last interesting millennial report, which is funny and sad at the same time.
Since you mentioned the Iran thing, you might as well play this thing's been sitting here. We need to catch up with the Tehran protests just so you balance that a little bit.
Protests against America?
Yeah, just general protests. Yeah, America's mostly.
Thousands took to the streets to denounce the U.S. following President Trump's withdrawal from the nuclear deal, which will mean a new round of economic sanctions. Liz Palmer in Tehran tonight reports Iranians are fed up, and not just with Washington.
After Friday prayers, the hardliners hit the streets.
This may be a noisy demonstration, but it's actually fairly tired old routine by now, designed by a regime that wants to deflect the people's anger toward America and not on the very serious problem brewing here at home.
None of these regime loyalists would dare say it, especially to an American reporter. But Iranians are furious with their own government's failure to deliver basics like electricity and water and decent wages. In January, grassroots protests spread like wildfire. And for the first time, angry crowds burned pictures of the previously untouchable supreme leader. President Trump pulling out of the nuclear deal and Iran's missile exchanges with Israel are just ramping up the pressure in a country that's already dangerously close to boiling point. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, Tehran.
And then there was this today. Iran's supreme leader used social media to troll the president. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei posted a picture of himself reading a Farsi language copy of Fire and Fury, Michael Wolff's book that is highly critical of the Trump White House.
Wait, that thing got translated into Farsi?
Apparently it did.
Really? Well, John, I'm here in Tehran, and it seems like they really hate America. Yep, there you go. They're saying death to all Americans. They're saying Trump is going to kill us all.
Getting there.
I can do that kind of report.
Yeah, we'll work on it. All right.
Millennials.
Last clip.
Millennials, it's sad and funny at the same time. It has to do with what they eat.
Frozen food, once frowned upon as unhealthy, uninspired, and tasteless, has recently become immensely popular among busy millennials, with some even willing to pay more for healthier frozen options. The trend has food giant Nestle and its rivals spending millions of dollars ramping up production, selling frozen food with fewer preservatives in simpler and more attractive packaging. Reuters correspondent Risha Naidu.
The market is looking for healthier, convenient, easy to cook meals that are also trendy and fashionable with ingredients like avocados. The market, however, is incredibly competitive and has been for several years, but now more so than ever as this demand has gotten a lot of food companies very excited.
Despite being the #1 food company in the world, Nestle was not prepared for the frozen food craze. Analysts say Nestle has trailed behind ConAgra, General Mills, and Pinnacle Foods in releasing high-priced premium meals that are also perceived as healthy.
So they're falling for it. The small batch crap is working.
And the other thing is they mentioned stuff like fewer preservatives. Frozen foods have very little preservatives in general because that's the idea.
Yeah.
But here's my prediction.
Okay.
The next thing, canned food craze.
Ooh, I like it. Yes, small batch canned food.
Yeah, canned foods.
It's healthier and more expensive.
Yeah, then after that, salted meats.
Know your salted meats. All right, everybody, that is your deconstruction for this Thursday, May 17th, 2018. And we return on Sunday, where, of course, we'll have a report on whatever happened at the royal wedding. But maybe some serious crap as well. Seems to be plenty of it out there, and we're happy to bring it to you twice weekly. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6. in the 5x9 Cludio in the common law condo. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where nothing. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We thank Chris Wilson, Danny Lose, and UKPMX for the end of show mixes. Until next time, adios, mofos. Oh, I need a cab.
Yeah, there's one. Taxi!
This was really a one-off that we could only use for that episode, done by Cesium137. It was just the best. It was a shadowy figure on his knees, bent over with a American Standard slide whistle jammed through him from the back with blood dripping off the mouthpiece.
And I should mention that we spent a little time in the post-mortem for the show with our slide whistles, figuring out which is the best way to grip it if you did want to run somebody through with it.
You remembered.
All right, now we're stabbing.
You have a really solid grip, and you could swing into somebody.
I want to stab them with you.
And probably impale them.
We're stabbing.
With a slide whistle. So you're lucky yours wasn't confiscated.
I hope you like stabbing too. Ain't no rules, there ain't no vow. We can even stab a cow. You and I will knife them through. 'Cause every day we pay the price with a little sacrifice. Stab until the knife pokes through.
Yes, I mean, the TSA totally should have seen this as a deadly weapon since our combo.
To think the stabbing was a thing of the past.
Gone on to try different
now
grips.
We're stabbing.
And I think the best way is you grip it with the mouthpiece.
I hope this knife is gonna last.
And down, put your index finger.
No bullet can stop us now. The pedestrians we can plow. The time is now for us to be bold.
Through the loop.
42 virgins do away.
On the slide.
You don't want to be late.
And then
martyrdom's worth more than gold.
You know, now it's just, you can just hack.
Stabbing, stabbing,
lethal.
stabbing,
you see?
stabbing.
You got a good
stabbing
grip.
In the name of Allah.
So it won't slide, your hand won't slide down as you're pushing it through bone and flesh.
Stabbing right into a god.
It's the burnout factor. I'm always sad when people are doing a lot. Like Sir Chris in Australia, love the guy. He's doing so much good work, but I keep telling him, dude, slow down. You don't need to do a song for every single show. You're going to burn out.
Yeah.
He won't listen.
Actually, I did some lyrics for him. He won't do those either.
Well, you did lyrics for him.
Yeah, I got a song. I got a whole. Anybody wants to do a song, I got lyrics for 2 songs.
Well, because he sent another one today, so it might be your song. I don't know.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
I got the feeling that he got my lyrics, and believe me, the lyrics work. And he said, I'd rather write my own lyrics. I'm going to write somebody. I'm not your slave.
I'm an artist, damn it.
I'm an artist. I do my own material.
Yes. Understood. Gotcha. I love doing this show.
You're going to do a couple of checks for $130,000 with a little profit and a little margin for profit.
Buzz the ding. Established a university for the sheer purpose he doesn't pay his workmen.
$30,000 with a little profit and a little margin for profit.
You might be an addict. And
on the street. You're going to do a couple of checks for $130,000 with a little profit and a little margin for profit. Checks.
You might be an addict.
Profit and a little. You're going to do a couple of checks.
He established a university for.
You're going to do a couple of
crashing your cars when you're texting.
With a little profit and a little margin for profit.
Line. That was very street.
The statistics to be everywhere.
Margin for profit extra.
Yes, there is an organization called Digital Warren. I founded it.
$130,000 with a little profit and a little.
I think it's more tax during
line.
With a
really itchy.
Very happy. That's great.
Margin for profit.
Line. That was very street.
The Goldwater Rule.
Or
interpersonally exploitive.
Very important for our fellow citizens to remember these words from Winston Churchill.
What are we talking about? Hello.
Citizens.
Show us. Wait. Hello.
Hello. Citizens. Show us. Wait. Hello. Very important for our fellow citizens. What are we talking about? To remember these words from Winston Churchill. Hello. Citizens. Show us. Wait. Very important for our fellow citizens to remember these words from Winston Churchill. What are we talking about? Hello. Hello. Citizens. Hello. Hello. Citizens. Hello. Citizens.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Me no like it.